Oh man, they're coming through the walls, man. They're coming. We got subs, man. We got new listeners. Superhouse Podcast, episode 34. I don't know, man. I'm cracking up.
All right, welcome to episode 34 of Superhouse Podcast. I'm Andrew coming in from Los Angeles. Stefan, go ahead.
Oh yeah, this is Stefan from Denver, Colorado.
All right, today we have our senior Godzilla correspondent by the name of Jonathan Portman here. Say hi, Jonathan.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks for coming on, man. We have a mutual friend, Mark, and
Indeed we do.
he said that you were basically a Godzilla expert. Is that correct?
I am a huge fan of Godzilla. I am not sure that could call myself a full-fledged expert, but I'm very enthusiastic about it. So, yeah.
All right, that's interesting because that's like not like your normal fandom. I feel like
Yeah.
maybe you've met a lot more than I have, but I don't know too many people where Godzilla's like their main thing.
Well, it's something that's very niche. I feel like you're either really into it or you're just kind of casual. There's no like real in between. Yeah, it's okay. I watch a few here and there.
Right.
You're the internet or you're not.
Right, and like, just how'd this get started?
Well,
When did you first fall in love or whatever?
my earliest memories, probably when I was around 4 or 5 years old. My uncle was huge into this stuff. He used to watch them all on TV when he was a kid back in the 60s and the 50s. And, when I was of age to start watching, start remembering things and start having thought, he introduced me to this movie called Destroy All Monsters.
Yeah.
And it's like the battle royale of monster movies. You've got all of the Godzilla kaiju, most of the Godzilla kaiju up to that point in a big movie. Just to it's kind of celebrate the genre, and that really got me hooked. Like seeing a bunch of these monsters, running around and wrestling each other, and on sets, these huge sets. And to me, it was it was the main thing. I was super into it, and that's where I really got hooked at a very young age. And I have to thank my uncle for that, because he really went head in on it, and he used to get me the VHSs, for Christmas, for my birthdays, and we used to watch them together, and he would kind of fill me in on knowledge that I didn't know, and all this stuff. So that's really where it all started.
Are you into any other like Japanese stuff, or basically just Godzilla?
A friend of mine, actually, I don't know if you know Josh Caldera, who's one of Mark's friends. He actually got me into anime, but this was like in the last couple of years or so.
Right.
But it was just about kaiju, tokusatsu. I was into Power Rangers when I was a kid. I'm still into the Power Rangers and, into the Sentai. But that's all mostly the same kind of thing, tokusatsu, live action special effects.
Right. And I mean, this is kind of jumping around, but like, what do you think what's the best Godzilla movie, man? Like, let's just throw it out there.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Because if you count the two American films, you got 31 movies now, and it's. I would say, in terms of my favorite overall movie, I think Mothra versus Godzilla, otherwise known as Godzilla versus the Thing in the U.S. title,
Okay.
is a very complete Godzilla movie. It's one of my favorites. It's a go-to whenever I'm in the mood, to watch a film late at night or fall asleep to it, or just watch it in general. That's the one I will probably go to.
And what would you say that like there is that most Americans don't really understand about Godzilla? Is there anything that you think there's a cultural disconnect, and only like
Well,
people super into it like you know about it over here?
I think a lot of Godzilla fans would agree that the understanding of Godzilla and where it comes from and how personal it is in terms of the Japanese and the way they handle it, is that Godzilla is like he's indestructible, and I feel like kids can identify with that, and especially kids who get bullied when they're in school and whatnot can really identify with something like that. Um, you know, the thing about those films is people kind of look at them as B movies. They're just kind of
Right.
schlocky and campy and all that. But if you look into the real history of it and why they made those films the way they did, and in terms of the budgets that they had to make these films, um, there's a lot more to it than just the B movie. There's a lot of detail, attention given to the miniatures in terms of how they're built and the staging on stage and how they get everything choreographed at the same time to get a shot off. You have these guys performing in these 200-pound suits, with 90-degree heat. They're slaving themselves out there to make these movies for children, to make them entertaining for the masses. I think, people just kind of look down on them for that reason, as like the guys in the suits running around in the special effects being outdated from like the 50s and the 60s. But I think there's more heart in those films in the way they produced and the way they made them, and that's what makes it special. That people, I think outside of the realm would kind of look at them differently than fans who live and breathe this stuff, who know the history behind it, and watch everything that comes out.
Right. Like up until film school for me, I only thought of it as like it's Japanese people just love monsters. That's the only way I thought about it. But
Yeah.
then, in some film class or another, they mentioned that like, this film, the first one came out not too long after the atom bomb, and if you think about this like city destroying power that is unstoppable, like
Yeah.
that, the atom bomb, and also like he's radioactive, right? So like that was in
Yes.
their that's in their collective unconscious, and or conscious, I guess, very conscious of it. So when I heard that, it kind of brought it to a whole other level, like this, even though it is a guy in a suit and it's a monster, there's something kind of important, like culturally important about it.
Of course, definitely. When Godzilla was created, a lot of the um, backstory behind the atomic bomb being used on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that still hit hard with the Japanese, even to this day. But especially back then, around 1954, it was about 10 years or so removed, 9 years removed, and they needed a way to kind of vet out their fears and their frustrations. And just not long before the movie was produced, they had the um, atomic hydrogen bomb tests in the South Pacific, and had gotten too close to a Japanese fishing vessel that they were supposed to be out of the blast radius, and they ended up getting in the blast radius, and they had nuclear fallout on them, and they came back into Tokyo Bay, and they had all this haul of catch of fish with them, and this
Whoa.
created a whole like nationwide scare, because in infuriation by the Japanese were infuriated because of the carelessness that had gone on with not just testing these atomic weapons, but also doing it so close and not knowing the limitations of it. And it was one of those things that could never really escape the Japanese, the fear of nuclear weapons. And that was the way they were able to vet it out in the feature
Right.
film that they made in Godzilla. It was kind of an inspiration of the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
Right.
That was their inspiration. And then going over Tokyo Bay, producer Tomiyuki Tanaka's like coming back from Japan. He's like, oh, wouldn't that be, he visions this creature coming out of the ocean, and that's where really the inspiration for it came. And that's why Godzilla has this cultural, there's this huge cultural sense behind him, because he is a product of our fear of nuclear power. And he's
And
indestructible,
right. And is
on the
that the same
facets to it.
for like all the other kaiju as well? Like they're all kind of copying that same pattern, or does like Mothra or somebody else have like stem from some other kind of fear or some other kind of cultural thing?
I think that once they started Godzilla and once they saw how big it was, um, they started to get into the realm of doing these films pure entertainment, and they saw this opportunity to not, I wouldn't say cash in, because they really felt strongly about making these movies, but it had turned into their genre.
Yeah,
They
right.
had created like a subgenre of film with the kaiju, the tokusatsu era, and Mothra, is just Mothra was a byproduct of that continuation. Let's make a film that's entertaining. Let's gear it towards different audiences.
Right. That I mean, that's just so interesting. And I've heard that the name, I've studied Japanese for like 12 years now or something like that. I heard that
Nice.
Gojira is a combination of Gorira and Kujira, which is gorilla and whale. Is
Yep.
that
Oh,
Yep.
correct?
whoa.
Yep. That's correct. That is
How
correct.
does that happen?
Uh, Honestly, I'm not really sure. I think uh, that term just kind of, I wouldn't say it sounded cool to them. I honestly am not. I don't know how that mixture came together. Um, but that's what they went with, and then that was translated into Godzilla over here.
Is that just because nobody could pronounce Gojira?
I think that's it. There was no Japanese to English translation to, what are you gonna call it? Like you can't. What are you gonna call it? Gorilla whale?
Right, right, right,
You had to
right,
think
right.
of something that sounded cooler. God, God fearing this massive creature that seems indestructible, and Godzilla. Maybe Zilla on the end of it. That was their catch. And yeah, I really gave it credit to whichever American producer came up with that name for the American translation, because otherwise it would have been like gorilla whale saurus or something
Right,
like
right,
that.
right.
You know what I mean? They wouldn't have the same like grab as a name.
My first Godzilla movie was that Matthew Broderick one,
Oh
and
yes, yes,
that
yes.
one really
Infamous.
just wasn't that good. But
No.
that one, like 2 years ago, I thought was decent. I like the end scene the most when he uses the beam.
Yeah, through the Muto's mouth and basically hacks off his head. Uh,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I like that one.
Spoiler alert, unless anybody hasn't seen it. I can't imagine who hasn't seen it. Who's
We're
gonna
expect
look at
Godzilla
Godzilla.
spoilers, and we're going to talk about Shin Godzilla too. So uh, expect spoilers from that as well. Or Godzilla Resurgence is the other title for it.
Yes.
What is up with that word?
Well, I honestly, I don't. I think the Japanese for international audiences, I don't know if they had heard about Independence Day Resurgence or not, but like it was just pure coincidence that
Yeah.
that was their title. But then they came back and they're like, no, Shin Godzilla. We want to market it as Shin Godzilla, at least in the States.
Hmm.
We want to give it back to its true meaning in Japan. So that's what they decided ultimately to go with. Godzilla Resurgence, I think they're on some of their international markets is being used. I don't quote me on that. I'm not sure, but I
Right.
know that Shin Godzilla is mainly being used a lot right now.
It's such a
As the
horrible
title.
word in a title.
Yeah.
It always baffles me.
I think maybe
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
that not that it always does, but for these these two movies in particular,
Right.
like so dumb. Like who handles titles in Hollywood, Andrew?
I have no.
So
The
dumb.
the marketing department. I mean, like the
Yeah.
guy that wrote the script doesn't name the fucking movie a lot of the time. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know? So,
Godzilla
I mean, since
Resurgence.
we're already on the subject, I just want to say, and look, I am no expert whatsoever. I've only seen a few of these films, but that was the best fucking Godzilla movie I've ever seen in my fucking life.
It was
Cool.
really good.
It
It
was
was really
so good. And I knew the Rotten Tomatoes scores. It was like 88% or something. And
Yeah,
I just got a few notes. Like, there's like no main character really. You could say the main character is Japan and how they handle this. Also, amazing social commentary where this is kind of a spoiler here, but like they're kind of like addressing the government and political impotency even in times of crisis. Like
yep.
they're
Hell
wondering,
yeah.
how do we strike under our treaty with the U.S.? Can we do it? Can we launch missiles? Are there civilians here? Under this article, under this legislation, we gotta have a meeting for every fucking move we take. We
Yeah,
can't fucking act like they can't do anything. Like, big surprise, everybody. But Japanese people view their government as slow and never gets anything done. So, I mean, it sounds very familiar, right? And to see it if you put it in like this time of crisis, like in a time with, if something like Godzilla were to happen, it's just like they found this really, really great, deep, kind of deeper message they could throw into a monster flick. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
of course, the action is great and all that, but go ahead, dude. I'm done.
Well, the movie is very social relevant to today's times. I think the script itself is very clever in how it goes, and it's very unique for a Godzilla movie. I think a lot of people would say this movie is a bit. If you ask the general audience, they might say this movie is a bit too talky. But I found the government bureaucracy and the back and forth to be very intriguing and very engaging, because in real life, how would this play out in a governmental situation? You always see how the military reacts, from a third person point of view. You always see how everything acts out from a third person point of view, but not from the characters, the people that are involved with making these decisions. And they're big decisions. How do we minimize destruction without getting, our own civilians in the way? And there's so many things in the movie that harken back to 311, as they call it.
Right.
Where as it's dubbed, the terrible tsunamis and earthquakes that happened back in 2011 in March in Japan, and the Japanese government was heavily criticized for the way that they handled the situation, how lackadaisical they were in getting the crisis. I don't know how you would say it, handled, because especially with Fukushima, with the nuclear power plant, they didn't shut it down. They didn't take measures. They said it'll be fine, and it did melt. It did melt down, and there were huge implications from that are still being. I mean, you can't even go to that area. It won't be. I think it'll be radioactive. It'll be in a crisis zone for the next 60, 70 years or something like that, even more.
Yeah, they're robots. When they send in a robot, a lot of them die because the radiation kills the battery.
Oh shit!
So,
even robots aren't safe.
I think this was a way for them to tell the social commentary on it. It's a movie made for the Japanese.
The post Fukushima, post
yes.
311 Japanese,
and it's blowing up over there. It's doing really well. It's made a lot of money over there. And rightfully so. It's making an impact on people, and over here,
say that again.
It's making an impact on people. They're gravitating towards it, and people are going to see it more than once. You got it sometimes with Hideki Anno movies. You may need to see it again to fully grasp things that you may have missed. There's a lot of dialogue in the movie. It's very snappy. Funny parts. A lot of funny parts. A lot of parody. There's a lot of satire, but then it also is very serious. And treats it very grounded, which I really like and I appreciate.
Yeah, it was like you had these moments of humor, but then also they treated the monster segments with so much love. They went down to the science and everything. Yeah.
How do we understand this thing?
They talk about radiation, you get into the specifics of radiation and shit, and the specifics of the Japanese government, and I don't want to spoil too much, but things happen with government people and all that, and I personally, the Japanophile in me, didn't mind all the talking and the middle section, because I love seeing. Well, they're talking. You're seeing the Japanese side talk to Americans and other foreigners, and having to deal with that. They plan to nuke this whole zone. The Americans, they're always so crazy or whatever. They're not careful.
The Yankees.
Yeah.
And they literally say after a win meeting, they're like, you know what? We'll research together, but let us handle the military side of it. And to see fucking Japanese helicopters and tanks scramble, that shit was fucking great. and to see them fucking load the trains with bombs and have all the fucking Japanese trains that I've ridden in my life head to Godzilla's feet
Yeah.
and blow his ass up. Like, man, I gotta tell you, dude. What else has come out this summer? This might be my favorite movie this summer. It's already fall.
I wish I'd
This
seen
fall. This fall, maybe.
It was very creatively executed in the way that they had. I mean, if you look at that last sequence of the movie, the train sequence, and the plan, plan A, plan B, all these different that's classic Toho meshing with modern technology, because in classic Showa era Godzilla movies, even in the Heisei era in the 90s, you had all these fantastic plans by the military, and all these ways that the military was trying to combat Godzilla.
Right.
They had all these lavish weaponry and all these lavish plans, planned out to go against him, and none of them ever worked. But they would sometimes stall him and deter him.
Right,
and this was no different. They went full on classic Godzilla in the end, which I love.
Right, and it felt like there's like two layers here, where like the there's always that layer of like man versus nature. Like,
yes.
Godzilla's this unstoppable force of nature, and man can do nothing. Like we're just so puny compared to this. And they even call him a god several times, right? They use the word, and in this movie too is interesting because the Gojira comes from Godzilla. The English name is first in this movie, which I thought was interesting. And then there's also, the not just man against nature and man feels futile against nature, but also the Japanese people feel futile against any kind of threat. Like, there's even that line from, what's her name, Ishihara Satomi? She says, in our country, America, the president decides what to do. What do you guys have? Who decides?
Yeah.
And I think that's basically like the big message of the movie whenever she says that. If you could boil it down into like one scene, that's it.
Definitely. I also think, if you want to talk about scenes that make a movie, in case anybody doesn't want to hear this, I don't want to give away too much, but there's
Spoilers
a scene
incoming.
There's a scene in the, I believe, in the second act of the movie, where you have his energy weapon for the first time, and it is, to me, that sequence made the movie.
From the back,
it showed that the glowing and the music. It was very sad, but it was very jaw-dropping, very crazy looking, very basically like annihilation. I don't know how else to describe it.
Right.
It was fantastic. It was phenomenal.
And then there's that, like, do as you like kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, like, there's also maybe, look, I'm just bullshitting right here, but I feel like there's not just a political thing. There's very much a political thing, but there's also like this degree in Japanese society, I feel like, where they sometimes feel paralyzed by their own, I don't know, traditions, or they feel paralyzed by their culture in a sense. Like there's so much, decorum, or there's just so much. They're so nice that they can't really do anything. They're just stuck in this like nice mode, and they're paralyzed. And I felt like that was at least a little bit commented on in the movie as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, say it again.
I said, yeah, you definitely hit it.
Right.
You hit it and quit it.
Hit it and quit it, boy. So, like, what does your girlfriend think of this, dude?
She actually is not too big of a fan of Godzilla. When we met, I had introduced her and she was okay with it. She went along with it, but over time, I think after this one, we saw in the theater, and she was very much, and it's understandable. She was very much afraid of Godzilla. There's certain things that she said to me. She said, "I cannot unsee that." So, especially, I mean, you know, because you saw the movie, the beginning.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't.
The first form.
I can't unsee that. So that is something that will haunt her forever, probably not forever.
Hey,
but
you still
yeah,
there? You broke up for a second. Can you say that again?
Oh, did I say that's? I had just said that she was not happy.
It's not that. It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad. But probably
He has his first form in this movie. Again, spoilers, I guess, but Godzilla's not the Godzilla you know of at first. He goes through kind of a metamorphosis. All right.
Jeez,
All right,
Andrew,
anyway.
calm down.
All right, so yeah, that's Maddie. He's the resident creature freak, Jonathan.
Oh yes, hello.
Hi.
You guys should meet.
Yeah,
I'm the
definitely.
resident freak creature. Just kidding, I'm so alone.
So I also saw the movie with my girlfriend, and she thought that it was going to be like Godzilla versus Mothra or something, and was
Right.
surprised by the whole, message, I guess you could say, that the
Yeah.
movie had. But yeah, she thought it was all right, but I think she wanted more of like I said, like there's not really a main character in it. You just see it's kind of spread thin throughout this whole cast.
I mean, when they say 300 strong, it is 300 strong. I didn't know what that meant when they first had said, like, this cast is 300 strong. There's a huge cast, and everyone has a part, and no one gets overshadowed or overplayed. I didn't know. I was like, how can you even spread that out? And they did. They spread it out completely. Everyone had a voice. Everyone had their moments.
Yeah, there definitely were moments. I mean, you could make an argument that Yaguchi was the main character, but he has
Yeah.
just as much screen time as everyone else does. But to me, it didn't really bother me like it did her. It was like I just like seeing that Japanese teamwork, and they're sending in scientists, and like the shots of the scientists trying to figure it out.
Yep.
That was great. That was just funny in and of itself.
Hmm.
I don't know, man. Oh, but going back to the one in what was it, 2011, 2012?
2014, the 2014 one.
2014. So
Yeah.
when I noticed in that one, and that one wasn't as good as this one, but what was cool about that one was they made Godzilla the hero.
Yes.
Like very much like you're rooting for a Godzilla. In Shin Godzilla,
Yeah.
he's very much a destructive force, even though you kind of don't know why. He just kind of comes up on land or whatever, because what are you going to do? You can't really explain it. No one knows in the movie. No one, whatever.
That's a very American thing to do.
But it's kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
if you go to see a Godzilla movie, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, but like, it's kind of cool to see the monster be the hero as well.
Totally.
Yes.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Of
It's
course.
very rare. They're always the bad guy, the demon, the thing you want dead at the, you always
Usually
want the humans
vilified,
to
yeah.
live.
Yeah.
That's
When
what
he
I liked about,
when he split that mouth open and put the beam in his mouth, we were like
Yeah.
cheering in the theater, man.
Yeah.
My
I
favorite
think it was.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. Go ahead. No, you please go ahead.
My favorite moment in the 2014 Godzilla is when the school bus or kids are on the bridge, and he lifts his back up to take on those rockets.
Yeah.
Because I was watching it and I was like, did he just save that school bus of children?
Yeah.
There's
You know-
nothing
you know
really
what?
to.
Boy
There's nothing
Scout
really
Godzilla.
there's nothing really to tell you that this Godzilla is a good guy at this point, except that he needs to fight these other monsters. And I was like, all right, I'm in. Let's see where this Godzilla takes me. But I really love that moment.
Must
I
protect
like
human
Godzilla.
larvae.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I like Godzilla as a savior. Like, he's here to protect planet Earth from, especially in the 2014 one against these, like, man-made, like, nuclear monsters, And I like that concept a lot. But I'm not, like, a huge Godzilla fan. Like, I haven't watched all of them. I've seen the essential ones. I love Godzilla 2000. It's, like, my favorite. Or Final Wars. That's my favorite one.
Final, that
Final
was
Lord.
from a few years ago, right? Or a couple of years ago?
Yeah, he
2004,
fights
really? Holy
he
shit.
fights every monster
Yeah.
ever in the Godzilla universe, and even
Man.
the 1998. Was that the year that shitty Godzilla came out?
98, yeah.
Yeah, he
Godzilla.
fights what they dub as Zilla. Yes.
Yeah.
Zilla.
And it's the best fight in the entire movie.
Got-
It
I
literally takes
actually
2
like that
seconds.
movie. I know it's
Oh,
like
the Final Wars
No,
or
the
98.
98 one.
No.
Drake, the worms.
I don't hate it. But again, it was like, yeah. Again, it was just like I just wanted to see the monster. Like I could care less. So it sounds like Shin Godzilla like takes a cue. Well, not from that in any way, but just they're not being like specifically a main character, and you like. I don't know. I guess to me, Godzilla's always been the main character.
Yeah, there's no main human character, man. It's just kind
Yeah.
of it's spread
Fuck that.
thin.
I think we need less of that anyway.
Right.
When monsters
You
are
get to see
concerned,
like the
anyway.
inner workings of like Japanese politics and like the government and all that. I mean, choppers, jets, tanks, trains, B-2 bombers, they scramble them all, man. It was fucking great. I had a great time, man.
Yeah, and what I really love about this one is that they modernized um, and made relevant the themes of what made Godzilla originally such a big hit back in 1954. Is that it's preyed on the fears of man about what nuclear power, atomic power can do if used the wrong way. This is the metaphor that we're going for, and that was the fear back in 1954. It's still a fear today, but back then during the Cold War, starting in the Cold War and all that, and being 9 years removed from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that was a big thing. Hey, the nuclear fear is still relevant. However, more of the political fear of like what we're like powerless to do anything. How can we do anything if we have all these restrictions and we have all this red tape? We have to go through all these meetings and all this just to get a decision made. Like it was very much like, I think that was a wake up call in 1954 with Gojira, and then this film will be a wake up call today, and it's just 62 years later after the fact.
I just want to say, I'm very upset that this Godzilla was not released wider.
Dude,
Like,
my theater
yeah.
was packed, man. Totally packed.
I was like, oh, I'll totally get this in Cincinnati. This won't be a thing, like, because there's been like Fathom events for like Yoga Hosers and like Rob
Yeah.
Zombie's 31, and I was like, and no one like,
yeah.
I love Yoga Hosers, I love 31, but it's like, it's fucking Godzilla, man. Like,
Right.
who doesn't want to see a Godzilla movie? Like, do a Fathom event for that shit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was really stunned that it
Dude,
was like,
Cincinnati
it's like-
sucks.
yeah, it does.
Well, well, I think that was more of Funimation released it here in the U.S. and I'm not sure if it was so much more of them not having the money to make a full-on campaign for 4,000 some theaters nationwide, or if it was just more of a safe play for them. Let's get as many people in the theater in the short amount of time, see how it does, and either way, we're going to make money off of it. We'll probably make more money off of home video sales anyway.
Yeah.
And it's they're actually right now. I would say they should have done a wide release. It should have been a wide release nationwide, especially at this point in the year. And there isn't much coming out right now in terms of blockbusters. There's not a lot coming out in the theaters in mid-October. So they had kind of an opportunity to take advantage of that. But what they did do right is sell out theaters in this short amount of time. People are going to see it 2-3 times just so they can see it before it gets out of the theater. I've seen it twice. I'll probably go see it again before it goes out. But it's made over $1 million or so.
That's good.
And it's 4 or 5 days in the box office, and only about 488 theaters nationwide. That's pretty good.
That's really good.
It's very optimistic for the franchise, especially in America. You could argue we have more of a fan base here. I've heard through reading articles and talking to people that in Japan, Godzilla is very much a huge thing, but it's kind of turned into a bigger thing in America. Even though we look at it as like a niche audience, it's very popular overseas.
everybody knows that name, Godzilla. They might not have
Yeah.
seen all the movies, but like that's like synonymous with King Kong, you know? Like
Recognizable.
Mhm.
Yep.
recognizability is like through the roof, you know?
Well,
Pop
working-
culture, yeah.
One of my favorite metal bands.
There you go.
Yeah.
Godzilla, yeah.
Yeah.
Working in a lot of used video stores recently, like you very rarely are there like there's just like Godzilla films at the like in the dollar bin unless they're like
Yeah.
scratched up. Like they're really hard to find. They usually come in if
Mhm.
you get one, it's usually going out for like $7 to $8. It's not used, you know, because this stuff isn't like you can't. It's not easily found very easily anymore.
Yeah.
So,
You almost have to go online for everything nowadays. You know,
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah. There's no reason to leave the house anyway.
except this.
Actually, you brought up a really interesting point about video rental stores. I remember and I'm kind of retracting a little bit. I'm going off into a thing, but you know, back in the early '90s, we had a video store in our town, and I would go there every week. And if I saw a Godzilla movie on the shelf and I saw a cover, I was like, oh, I don't recognize that. I'd pull it down, you know, put it on my mom's account, bring it home, watch it about 1 million times, take it back, go get the next one that I didn't recognize and watch that. That's how all of us had to find these movies and explore more of the franchise, because you didn't really have internet
Yeah.
back in the mid 90s, and even in the mid to late 90s, internet was still growing, and you couldn't go online and find all this information and
Yeah.
soak it up. You had to almost experience it yourself. So I had to rely on either my uncle buying me VHSs or me going to the video rental store and, oh, look, I don't recognize that one. Let me pull that one down.
So
that was an interesting point you made.
Stores. I miss them so much.
Oh yeah, they were great. I used to go every week.
Yeah. Well, just like I was the same way as a kid. I was like, oh, what's that horror movie with a creature on the front I haven't seen? I'll watch that 10 times, take it back.
Yeah.
That was like, Monster Squad was my movie. Like, if I didn't see anything I wanted to see, it was like Monster Squad.
Yeah.
I love that movie,
Very
man.
nice.
That's one of
I'm
the
in a
best.
goddamn club, aren't I?
Yes.
Monster Squad. Very nice.
That movie rules.
Classic.
I am right now on mute watching the Blu-ray Shout Factory or Scream Factory edition of Pumpkinhead right now.
Cool.
Wonderful. This movie
Love
looks so
Pumpkinhead.
good in Blu-ray. So
Love Pumpkinhead.
I love it. So good. Such a great creature.
I still have to see that one.
Oh, dude.
I do too. I don't think I've ever seen a Pumpkinhead movie.
Yeah.
Well, you only need to see the first one.
Oh,
Lance
okay.
Henriksen, yeah.
So what's the next movie coming out that we should look forward to, dude?
Well, if you're into anime, there is it's just titled literally Godzilla. It's coming out in Japan. It's going to be an anime film that they're doing. It's going to be the first ever anime film for the Godzilla franchise.
Hmm.
And Godzilla's been portrayed in anime in like guest star or like guest appearances, not even guest appearances, just homages to like certain other TV famous anime shows and all that I know of. But yeah, we'll have a full-fledged anime film next year.
Next year, okay. Is that from Funimation as well?
No, that is from the company who had done the animation for Knights of Sidonia, if you're familiar with that,
The name.
and
yeah.
Clone Wars.
Ah, sweet.
Oh
so-
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But other than that, just Netflix, Hulu, they have a good deal of Godzilla stuff on there currently.
Is your favorite on
We're looking
there?
at-
What was it called again?
Mothra vs. Godzilla, 1964.
Okay, I gotta watch that one.
To me, it's the most complete Godzilla film. It's where everything comes together, from the direction to the characters, to the actors, to the actual screenplay, and especially the music. That's one of the main reasons I love these movies, is because of the sound, the scores.
Yeah, man, that score comes on in Shin Godzilla, and I was fucking pumped from the get-go, dude. Like,
Well, yeah,
so
they used
good.
a lot of classic cues in the movie as well, if you noticed.
Interesting note on that, or interesting tidbit, and not that I have seen Shin Godzilla yet, but it's what's his name, Hideki. What's his
Anno.
name? Anno Hideki Anno. My friend, he's a really big anime guy. He went and saw it at our limited release theater that we have here. And he was talking about how anytime like things ramped up or there was about to be an action scene, the piece of music in Shin Godzilla that would start to play is very reminiscent of Evangelion when the same thing would happen when the monsters would start to fight or when they start fighting. And if you go back and look, he showed me in the car, he showed me both pieces of music, the one from Shin Godzilla and the other one from Evangelion. It's like the same piece of music, except in Shin Godzilla it's like electronic guitar instead of a more orchestral kind of like. Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny. So for Evangelion fans, I'm sure they know it. I'm sure they know that already.
Man. He did
Definitely.
a great fucking job.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was a few months ago when the score was released, I of course got it and was listening to it, and I noticed whenever they're in the movie, when you see the movie, whenever there's a meeting, whenever there's a plan they're trying to come up with, like you said, when it's ramping up and the editing is boom bam boom, it's that same Evangelion music. And it's literally the same tracks. I went back and I listened back, and I'm like, this is the same music. It's just that he may have changed the octave or changed a few notes here and there, but it's literally the same rhythms, the same beats, the same harmonies.
Yeah, totally.
And I heard that was intentional. There's an article that I have yet to read. I wish I could get it. It's this Chinese article. It was an interview with the composer Shiro Sagisu, who's Yano's guy. He does all of his stuff.
Yeah.
And who also did Evangelion, the rebuilds, also did the show. And he had said that Anno specifically wanted these Evangelion tracks in the movie, maybe because Anno is such a big Godzilla fan,
totally,
and loves Evangelion as it's his baby, that he wanted to bridge those worlds together and make it special and personal in a sense. That's what I'm gathering from it, because I can only think of any other way that would be a thing.
Makes me wonder if a live-action Evangelion is around the corner.
Oh, that'd be incredible. With Ghost in the Shell being made.
Dude, that would be tight. I mean, it would be tight to have like a Japanese version, like Anno just like realize it into live action. Would be amazing.
Well, good luck there, because he's so stressed with it enough. I think he's doing he started on the fourth one right now, and that fourth and final film, and he's expressed how much it stressed him out doing these Evangelion movies. And even Godzilla, they asked him whether he would do a sequel because of the success, and he said, well, I think I'm done with Godzilla for now. And he's like, I think it would be nice to have a new director as a new perspective on a sequel, which I'm down for. I'd like to see a new person helmet if they do choose to do that. Now, it's interesting, usually Toho, who distributes these films, usually they announce right after a Godzilla movie comes out, and they see the numbers, right? They're usually quick to announce a sequel. Yeah. But they have yet to do that, and I feel like they're very reluctant to do so. They spent a lot of money, more than I believe. Don't quote me on saying the most out of any Godzilla film, but they definitely spent the highest amount or equal to of the movie. And in Japanese cinema, they're not spending $100 million on movies. Their highest would probably be 50 million, 40, 35 million.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So
damn, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. I think they ended it in a way to make it ambiguous, to make it there could be a sequel. It could stand on its own.
Yeah.
Shit,
all the best movies do.
Yeah, I really love this movie, and once I got out of seeing it, I made a comment to a friend of mine that most Godzilla movies I adore so much, but they don't. There's always certain ones that have scenes that stick in your head, right? You think of it in your head when you're just doing your everyday chores or when you're at work. You have an image in your head that sticks from a film that you just can't get out of there. And Shin Godzilla has been the only film in a very long time that I've had that feeling that stuck in my head. Like, there's this one scene I can't get out of my head. I told you what my favorite scene is in Shin Godzilla, but I just can't get that imagery out of my head, and it makes it the best and most unique.
Awesome.
You can definitely say it's the most unique Godzilla movie that's come out.
Yeah, I was just so surprised they
Yeah.
could make a message like that work so well with the creature feature. Like I had heard like they'd done it before, the older ones, but I had never really seen I guess I've never really seen a really good Godzilla film until this one. And again, I think I've seen less than anybody here. But
Well,
I'm becoming more and more of a fan now, especially now that I'm seeing good ones.
Yes. To go back, I don't know if you've seen the original Godzilla King of the Monsters,
I actually never
American.
have.
It's to me, it is the best Godzilla movie.
Okay.
Next to like, I'd say it's the most. It's the first. You gotta go back to the first. The thing that started it all. Mothra vs. Godzilla is my favorite, but I think the best is the original.
Okay.
Because if you can look at the time, the message that it tells, it's the dark. Next to this one that just came out, it's the darkest. It has that black and white, very moody, very noir.
yeah.
But it's also the music. Everything is very dark and solemn, and there's a good character story. It's Ishiro Honda who is the director. It's him at his best. Who
It
was
was so
Akira
unique
Kurosawa's
a
assistant director.
film.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd say if you're going to watch a Godzilla movie, if you're going to start watching a Godzilla movie, watch the original. That'll set the tone. And then over the years, they got more entertainment based.
Okay.
Let's entertain. Let's tell a message that's socially relevant for the times, because every Godzilla movie had a message for its time that came out. Because they came out, you have 1954 through 1975. That's the first era. Then you have 1984 through 1995. That's the second era.
Okay.
And then you have the Millennium series, which is the 2000s on into 2004. And then you have Shin Godzilla now, which if they do more, this would be the fourth era.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there were eras.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, if you break it down to eras, you have the 1954 through 1975 would be considered the Showa era,
Right.
which is based off of the emperor at the time. That's how they classify the
Okay,
eras.
just cultural note here.
Cultural note.
The traditional Japanese calendar that they still go by today, alongside the Western calendar, is based on the emperor. So when an emperor dies, it's a new one. So Showa what was the last year of Showa? I forget. Do you know offhand? Okay, well anyway, we went from Showa to Heisei. We're
Yes, it
currently
went
in
from Showa to
Heisei.
Heisei. Yeah, because it's his son, Hirohito's son, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That is in power, or no?
Yeah.
Is it?
I think that was Showa, right? I don't know the
That
specifics,
well,
but
Hirohito was the first era, was Showa era, and then
yeah.
when his son took over, it's funny because it's interesting. The Showa era technically was from 1926 to 1989, and the Heisei era technically if Godzilla movie starts, they classify it as 1984 to 1995, even though he was still alive in 1984, 85, 86, 87, 89. But they classify him because of the movies just to break them up, because 84 started the new timeline
Yeah.
in the films, just not to make it confusing for everyone.
I got another cultural note here, off topic, but era in Japanese is jidai, and a period piece or piece about an era is jidaigeki. George Lucas knew the word jidai and changed it to Jedi.
Hell yeah.
Because he was a Kurosawa fan.
Ah,
Yeah.
very interesting tidbit. I'll have to tell my brother that. He's a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah, there you go.
Jedi. Hell,
Jidai.
I love that. Jidai.
Jidaigeki is a period piece, which is what all Kurosawa films are.
Huh.
Of course. Yeah. Very cool.
So, kind of switching gears a little bit here, but best Godzilla video game, Rampage, bro?
Rampage.
For not having any official Godzilla characters in it, I would say I love Rampage. Rampage is great, but you know, an official Godzilla game. I always loved Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee. That was like full on brawls. You know, even though the action was kind of slow, you're with the monsters. You're in the city. You can throw buildings at people. Monsters. You can change objects. The city's destructible. Those are pretty good. They had a new one come out a few years ago, or actually last summer, I believe it was. Um,
Did
it
you
was
play
just
that?
called Godzilla. I bought it. I played it for a while. It was it's literally for the true Godzilla fan. They noted, and it's very true because it's more of a simulator. Like if you love Godzilla and you love
Cool.
the history of the films, like you move around at a lumbering, slow pace. And the controls are a little janky in the way they move around, but if you get used to them, it's really fun to like have the old music come on and the old military marches when you're fighting the military. When the super weapons come out, like the Super X or any of their fantastical weaponry they've had over the years come out and try to fight Godzilla. They have the monsters come out, and they look great. They look true to the films, and you fight the monsters, and you have to destroy certain percentages of the city to like up your character's level, and you grow over time to
Oh,
get
man.
you to
You're
like.
selling me.
I think you start out at like 50 meters, and throughout the end of the game, at the final
That's
stage, you
awesome.
can grow up to like over 100 and some meters tall. And it's a very interesting game. It's either you love it or you hate it. I found that with the fan base. Do you really love it or you really don't love it? I liked it, but I haven't played it in a while, and there's too many things going on out there for me to be replaying it. But yeah, I think a game that I still think of today as being the best Godzilla game. I think Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee or its sequel, Godzilla Save the Earth. They were great
What
games.
system?
They were on Xbox, I think,
And GameCube?
and GameCube. I think
Yeah.
Destroy All Monsters Melee originally came out on GameCube. That's when I got it. And then they got backwards compatible with Xbox and Xbox 360. And then the Save the Earth came out for Xbox, I believe, and 360. And I think PS2, maybe PS3. I can't. I'm not sure.
PS2 had it.
I only say that because I was an Xbox guy back in the day, so
Right.
I didn't know much about PlayStation at the time.
Did you ever play the Neo Geo one?
I don't think so.
I might not have had the exact license, but I think it was called like King of the Monsters or something. It was an arcade / Neo Geo home console one. And that one's pretty good too. Actually, I think that one was one that was ported over to Super Nintendo as well. So if you
You
played
know,
that version,
there was this interesting game called Super Godzilla. I don't know if you guys remember it. It was on Super Nintendo. It came out in the U.S. Um, I got it I think it came out in like 93 or 94. I got it. I actually still have it on Super Nintendo.
sweet.
I played it like a few months ago with my friends, and they were like, "This game is boring," um, but no, but it was fun. It's one of those games where like you walk through a grid, like you're a dot on the screen. You walk through this grid and this map to get to the monster. Once you get to the monster, you have to find him on the map, and once you get to him, you fight him. You fight that monster with basic moves. Like you can uppercut him, you can use a special move, and it's like kind of like a Mortal Kombat style, you know, like you each take
Right.
your turns battling each other. It was fun, but when I was a kid, it was fun. Now it doesn't hold up as much.
Like King of the Monsters?
Super Godzilla, it's what it's called for
my bad.
Super Nintendo.
All right. Well, you guys have any more questions or what?
Look, I can't wait to see Shin Godzilla.
Right?
I recommend it. And if it's playing in your area, its last official day for its run is Tuesday.
Oh
And
shit, for real? I'm
sometimes-
gonna go watch it tomorrow.
Well, and sometimes they're running once a day. Depends on the theater. Like in LA, oddly enough, they're playing in a lot of the art house Lamleys.
Yeah.
But you have to go to a specific time because there's the one in NoHo where I saw it in North Hollywood has only been playing it once per day.
That's the
It's usually
asterisk
7:30.
on what I said earlier about my theater being packed. It was packed, but that's because it was the only time,
Yep.
the single time
Exactly.
playing the whole weekend.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
When did you see it?
I saw it like at the same time you and Mark saw it, actually.
Oh,
I
nice.
invited him. I was trying to invite him to my showing, and he was like, dude, I'm actually seeing it tomorrow, same time, different theater. And I was like, oh, shit, all right.
Yep. Yep.
So, cool. And I saw like all kinds of Godzilla shirts, like just the fans were out, you know? It was just cool. It was
It really
cool.
is a great fan base. Like you meet a lot of great people who are very enthusiastic about it. And it's one of those fan bases it's one of those close-knit communities where, I've met people at cons, at Comic-Con and at Monsterpalooza and all these different cons, and there's always Godzilla stuff there. You can always find a little pocket where there's Godzilla stuff. I went to Power Morphicon, there's Godzilla stuff there. And you just
sweet.
meet people and you talk to people and I saw those same people at our showing, yesterday. And it's just really fun to you create relationships as well. That's what's great about these movies is you can create relationships with people and talk in a community and relate.
Right. Fucking awesome, dude. I think I'm done if you guys are. And
Yeah.
Hopefully,
That was some good Godzilla.
hopefully I gave you guys enough,
Yeah, man, it was great, dude. It's good to kind of. I never really talked to somebody that was like that knowledgeable on the subject, you know.
you'd probably get more out of me if you were seeing me in person because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little camera shy. So
oh
I
yeah.
get a little shy behind the mic.
Jonathan, you'll have to come back on when the new Predator film gets released because I hear you're a fan. And
I love Predator. My parents actually had to suspend me from watching it when I was a kid. They told me I couldn't watch it for like 2 weeks because I would watch it so much. They were kind of creeped out because I would at like 7 years old. At 7 years old, I'm popping the VHS in and watching it, every day.
yeah, no, I
I
totally
love
get
Predator.
you. One of my dad showed it to me after I saw like Terminator.
Oh yeah.
He was like, "Oh, check this movie out. It's called Predator." And I was like, "All right, cool. I'll watch this." And that part where he throws Arnold against the tree, I looked at my dad and I was like, "He's gonna kill Arnold."
Yeah.
My dad's like, "Just watch. Just keep watching." And it was just it was such a great moment. My dad loves to show me films and be like, "Hey, you know what? There's a sequel." And I'm like, "Why the fuck didn't we rent that too?"
Oh,
What have
and
we got to do for the rest of the night? Nothing.
and when he pulls off the mask and he reveals himself, that's like one of the best reveals of a creature
dude.
ever. And you see his face, you one ugly motherfucker. I can't do the reaction very well, but
Yeah.
I was like, when I first saw the Predator, I was like, so cool. Look at those mandibles. Look at the face. Oh no, he's got all these gadgets. Oh, he's jumping around. Oh, he's got cloak.
I like when
Oh yeah.
in translation. I was like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I was like, this thing is smart as hell.
It's
Yeah.
smart as hell.
I always like my dad. He would
Swear-
always sit me down before we watch something and be like, "All right, it's not real. This didn't really happen. I know you're just a small, get ready." Then he would put it on, and he would look over at me when killings happen or like when Predator reveals himself, and he was like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "This is awesome." I just remember being like that creature to me was so fucking cool. It wasn't even scary. I
Not
was
even
like, "This is
yeah,
amazing."
exactly.
I
It's
don't
one of
know,
those things.
Yeah, you want the Predator to win.
Well,
Oh, dude, every time he's in anything, I want him to win, but sadly, he loses most of the time.
it's funny. I'd asked you before, Andrew, about if we were on video call or voice, because I was like, if I'm on video, I have this whole all these Godzilla figures on display.
Oh shit!
I was gonna turn them but then I was like, okay, good, because I don't have to worry about fiddling with that. And directly behind me, there's a bunch of NECA Predators.
No, so yeah.
Oh,
Oh
Shelf.
well, dude, you
bet.
can turn on your video real quick, and the listening audience will just have to suffer.
I just
Good,
want to
yeah.
see.
That's right. You'll suffer, listening audiences, but I'll love every second.
But you know what, dude? Could you send us some pictures of your collection so we can post on the Superhouse Facebook page?
Oh,
and-
most
and
certainly,
Twitter?
yeah, definitely.
Tight.
All right, let's see here.
Are
that'll
you
really help.
psyched for the new Predator film?
Oh, very. Especially since Shane Black is doing it. I mean,
Hell
who
yeah.
better? The guy who helped develop the original and was in the original. Like that's
Right.
Dude, I just recently saw The Nice Guys, and I was watching that, and I was like, man, this movie's great. And then it dawned on me halfway through that film, I was like, oh shit, this motherfucker's making a new Predator film. This shit's gonna be great.
Shane Black kicks
Totally.
ass.
He does. He's great. I love Nice Guys. It was funny as hell.
Like it's probably one of my top favorite movies of this year. Like, didn't think I would like it because I don't like watch a lot of comedies.
Right.
Not that I'm opposed to them. I'm just like a horror movie fan, creature feature. Like, that's my shit. And
Oh, of course.
And I was just like, all right, Ryan Gosling, I love you in most things. Let's do this. And Shane Black, let's go. And I was like, it's the only time a movie was ended, and I went, man, I wish this was a series or the sequel was out right now. 'Cause I want to see more of these guys together.
Totally.
That's
I
cool.
just loved every second of it. But
I gotta watch that.
Totally.
did you like Predators?
You know, I did actually. I it was interesting because it's okay to me. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. I liked all the different Predators. That was cool.
It was like the whole time I was like, when they do the samurai part,
Yes.
I was like, this is as close as we're getting to feudal Japan Predator on film.
Pretty much. Oh
This
yeah.
is as close as we're fucking getting, and I fucking love
Pretty
that.
damn close. That was so good.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
that part's
amazing.
You're rolling. I
The
remember.
more I
it was
see it,
like,
the
"Ooh."
more I enjoy it, just for the fun aspect of it.
Right.
I don't know,
Totally.
man. I think it does a lot of things really well, and then there's a lot of shitty stuff in it, but
It's a good
overall,
homage. It's a good homage. I'll admit I saw it once in the theater. I haven't seen it in a while, so I'd have to watch it again and form another opinion. Because usually, sometimes it'll take seeing it something again to be like, okay, yeah, this was good, you know.
Yeah.
I've probably seen it like 10 times, but I didn't see it in the theater.
Nice.
I saw it in the theater twice, because I usually go see any Alien or Predator movie, except Prometheus, at least multiple times.
Yeah.
So, like the Alien versus Predator movie, saw them twice.
Yeah, Alien versus Predator, the whole pyramid thing, that was cool.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Like there's some really cool moments in that film, but it's terrible. I get it.
I
But
think everyone's on the
people are
same
like,
page.
"Why'd you see it
I
twice?"
actually.
I was like,
I'm
if
sorry.
I can give Predator more money consistently, I will.
Yeah,
At
it's like,
some point, someone's going to make a great one. Like right now, Shane Black is making a Predator film. What more could I ask for? So
I actually really enjoy
it's gotta be
Requiem.
good.
I mean, I don't really enjoy it, but I like Requiem.
Requiem's cool. It's a good concept. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking dark.
Honestly,
Yeah, I don't mind
totally
so
forgot
much,
about
but yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that one. Don't know
I
why.
love it. Like one Predator, they go to the Predator homeworld. Great, first time seen on film. Then they call in one Predator to clean up everything.
It was a
Like,
great
okay.
concept, and it has really cool moments.
Yeah.
Very, very few, but it has cool moments. Otherwise, it's just kind of like an okay B horror
Oh,
movie.
the Predator
you know?
costume is fucking dope as shit.
Oh,
Like,
it's so good. The wolf
look is so
Predator.
good. Yeah,
I
so
and I
good.
didn't mind
the aliens look cool.
the Pred Alien or whatever. You know, it was like it was all right. It was okay. It's okay. I watched that one last year. I was in a hotel or something. It was on TV, and I remember being like, I like Requiem better than
Oh, yeah.
the
Requiem's 10 times
Paul Anderson ones.
Oh, Paul Anderson. That
Yeah.
guy.
Event
but
Horizon. That's it. That's all he's done. That's good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that was good, man.
Yeah.
Event Horizon creepy as fuck.
It's Hellraiser in space. What else do you want? Come on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Fantastic.
I want Hellraiser in space.
Oh, they did that. It's called Bloodline.
Oh right, yeah. Yeah, that's a whole other discussion. I love me some Hellraiser.
Right.
Dude.
All right, so I turned on my camera. I just need to take my headphones off real quick so I could just show you a quick
No
few of them
problem.
real
I
quick.
will narrate this.
Are those
Alright.
the NECA figures? Oh.
Oh yeah. I
All
can't
right,
get
so
I
he's
can't get
going to
into
grab his
toys.
shit.
If I get into toys, it's over, guys. I'll have no money.
Yeah, totally,
Fucking,
dude.
dude,
Yeah.
I
I
look at Predator figures and I'm just like, fuck, I want it.
I
Like,
spent
the one-
yeah. Go ahead.
They released that one from like the Genesis game, the Predator 2 or
Yeah.
whatever, and I was like, oh god, I want that so bad. And I was like, you cannot spend $40 on that. Do not.
It's like it's kind of reasonable now if when I look at figures and stuff.
decent job, yeah.
I spend a lot of time
looking at figures and stuff like that. And now it's getting to be like $35, $40 a figure. I'm like, damn, that's cheap. You know,
Yeah.
because like so many of them are like, I want those alien ones, those NECA ones. They make such good figures, man. I wish I still had my Hellboy figures.
NECA does very well, except for their Godzilla line. That's just in my opinion, though. I mean, some people really like the NECA ones, but I think they do the Predator and Alien ones. They do an amazing job. This is they call him Big Red.
Oh yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, that's awesome.
He's the samurai, like the samurai Predator. He's got the katanas.
If someone they're like, Maddie, we're gonna give you this amount of money. It's gonna be however much you need to make a film. What film would you make? Predator and feudal Japan.
I would love that.
That would be it. It's just like samurai fighting a bunch of predators. It'd be fucking great. It'd be like 13 assassins with predators in it. You could
pitch that movie. You could pitch just that line, and then throw the tablet down, and then just pound your chest and walk away, and they'd be like, 100 million. You'd be like, okay. Like just that pitch alone would get. If I was a studio head, I'd be like, we're making this movie. I don't care.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So
Predator versus samurai.
It's like the Last Samurai, but you got predators. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, get Tom Cruise back. Who gives a fuck? Let's do this.
I'm fine with that. If Tom Cruise was like, yeah, let's make this shit, but I gotta be in it, I'd be like, well, fuck yeah, let's do this shit.
Yeah.
And then I would go, Andrew Steffen, I don't know how to actually direct a movie, but I have one. So let's make this shit.
My only request would be that we cast Carl Urban in some part.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
Carl Urban has to be like the main
It's
guy.
feudal Japan, guys. Calm down. There's only so much I can do.
He could be
the credits roll, and then there's an extended scene. That's what you get.
Right?
You would have it mostly foreign language. You would have it mostly Japanese language.
Oh yeah, dude. I
Classic.
remember.
I'd say yeah.
There was a script floating around that, like, before Alien vs. Predator by Anderson came out. And I read it, and, like, the first half of the script is just, like, predators talking, and it's all subtitled, and I was like, genius! I could watch hours. I was like, if I could watch fucking the Planet of the Apes movies, which I love those, I'm not dissing them. The new ones.
Those new ones are so good, dude.
Yeah, but, like, they sit there and talk for, like, fucking 30 minutes, and I fucking eat that shit up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, I will watch predators talk in whatever fucking language they speak.
Yeah.
For fucking 2 hours.
Yeah,
I don't know if you read this. There's this book that came out called Forever Midnight. It was done by Dark Horse. It was published by Dark Horse, and the guy who did the screenplay for The Crow, John Shirley.
Yeah.
Nice.
He wrote this novel, and it goes to the Predators. It goes into the Predators mythology and has them talking. It goes like back between perspectives, and they go on this planet it's called Forever Midnight because there's a point where it's daylight for like, or it's like night for like months on end, and the predators come there to attack, to hunt, and it's like this human colony on there, and they fight this military group, kind of like it's kind of reminiscent of the first Predator, but it has these like it's very epically done, and I love the book. I was like, I've never gone through a book so fast. It's called Predator Forever Midnight, and they go through the whole like mythology and the background of the predators, and
this is
the predators are like
a graphic novel, or
it's a book. It's like a full-on novel.
Okay.
So you'd have to. If you're not a big reader, then you might not be into it. And I'm not a huge reader, but I loved it. I read through it in like a few days.
I'll probably pick it up. I probably have to at this point. I need to.
Probably should. I mean, it came out like, I don't know how, like 2006 or so.
Yeah, I know John Shirley is like an author in my working in bookstores. So.
Oh yeah.
And I know he does a lot of Predator stuff. I just started reading a book called The Silence by Tim Leben, who also does a lot of like AVP stuff.
Ooh.
And he did like the Alien Out of the Shadows series that came out like last year. I think there's like 3 novels. Yeah, I'm aware of those guys in the books. The only Predator book I've ever read that I like breezed through was Concrete Jungle.
That one's great.
Which I think was also a graphic novel or a series of comics, but I don't know which came.
Did they make that a video game?
They did, but it's not in.
It's not the same story.
It's not the same story.
Okay.
It's unrelated, but that one was actually a decent game. People don't like it, but you kind of go back.
Dude,
You know, it was fun.
I loved
That's
it.
that's
It's
the one with the
so-
mobsters, right?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you go through time in it, yeah. Because the Predator stuff was awesome because they actually spent
Oh,
time on making the Predator cool. But
yeah.
like
So you
all
could
the other
cloak.
AI sucked. But
Oh, they
like,
were terrible. Like you could sneak around people so easily, but
yeah,
like you would do the whole cloaking thing. You'd be up on a pipeline or a rafter, running, crawling around, and you could use all the Predator's gadgets. It was really cool.
oh yeah, and then there was like the whole alien tie-in at the very end, which I didn't expect, which was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, and actually,
Oh,
it's
dude,
funny.
that's a cool game. That's a cool fucking game. Everyone play that now that's listening.
Oh, it's funny.
I'm
Concrete
playing it right now.
Jungle, the novel Concrete Jungle. I believe you can look that up. I'm not claiming that this is fact, but I had heard that was the original. That was supposed to be the Predator 2. That was supposed to be
Right.
the movie, and they changed it to be Los Angeles because of the times in the early '90s, and they wanted Danny Glover in it because I guess there was complications with Arnold or something. I don't know. I heard this story
Well,
that
like
Concrete Jungle was supposed to be the movie,
it,
the sequel.
in Concrete Jungle, it's basically like so you watch the first film and this human kills a predator, which like I guess in like the Jungle universe of predators, it's like maybe the first time a human's ever killed one.
Right.
So go, and this is several years later. So Arnold's character is like older, not as fast, and they kill him. But Arnold's character has a brother in Concrete Jungle, so they go after
Right.
him because he's younger and
He's a
he's also
detective, right? He's like a
he's
New
like a
York detective.
detective in New York, and like he's just like a good sport or whatever. So they go after him, and it's basically a similar story to Predator. It just takes place in New York. So just
Right.
take everything from Predator 2, set it in New York, and just
It
have
would
the
have
light.
worked.
Yeah, no,
It would have.
it would have been fucking amazing.
Would have been awesome.
I really hope that they're trying to like maybe get to something like that soon. Like I don't know, I'd like to see Predator jumping around New York,
Yeah.
or Predators. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be
I
amazing.
honestly would like to have seen a sequel to Predators. Would have liked to have seen
Yeah.
like what happened to Adrian Brody's character and like the what could like more ships that fell. Because if anything in Predators, I would have loved to see more alien races that they fought. Like I would have
Yeah.
loved to seen like Enemy Mine meets Predator. Like
Yeah.
Adrian
Totally.
Brody has to team up with this weird alien, and they have to like figure out a way to communicate and like survive. And I don't know, man. That shit would have been fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. It's
Yeah.
always interesting when you have a predator and a human teaming up.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
for
I would really like to see like a team like the original Predator that's like ostracized in this in Predators. I would have really liked to have seen more of a team up between the two, like Adrian Brody and him, like kind of like in AVP, the first one, like how there's that understanding that like the Predator has to use this human to survive this like alien queen.
yeah.
Like I would have really liked to have seen that dynamic in Predators or even in a sequel or something. But I don't know. Will I ever get this film? Maybe not.
Then we're gonna need Predator
I wanted that one
VR.
so bad. I wanted it so
Oh,
bad.
the video game one.
Oh yeah, it's so great. I was like, I can't. Like I was telling them earlier, like
Oh,
if I
cool.
got into toys, it'd be over. I couldn't travel anywhere.
Well,
My room would just be filled with it. Like
You gotta do
honestly-
moderation.
honestly, I'm running out of room. I would tell my girlfriend, I was like, when we get our own place, I've got to get like a display case because I have these shelves and stuff, but I'm running out of space. I have like Ultraman figures and Godzilla figures that are still in boxes because I can't fit them anywhere.
yeah, I have like
Fortunately.
I have a few pop figures, and I only have one action figure, and it's still in the box. Is the Pumpkinhead McFarlane?
Oh,
I
yeah.
picked it up for like I was working at Half Price Books at the time, and I think they put it out for like $12. So I got it half off, and I was like, hell yeah, I'll buy a toy for that fucking cheap. So
Of course.
that's the only one I have, and it just floats around with me in the box.
It's funny you say Concrete Jungle. You were talking about that one because they released this one recently. Well, in the past couple of years,
Oh,
the
dude,
Concrete
Chris-
Jungle like cover.
Yeah, it's
version.
so good. Yeah.
The
Well,
the plasma caster keeps falling off. The arm keeps
Oh,
falling
yeah.
off for some reason.
Any Predator toy I've ever had, that always happens.
They're so they're so like they're such display pieces. If you like mess with them, they get all, But that's
These are not meant to be played with people.
This is true.
You
This is
just-
true. That's why All my Godzilla figures, the cheap Bandai ones, I'll give to my kids,
Yeah.
and the SH Monster arts, like these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that guy.
Yeah. These ones, they're highly the articulated ones. I will keep. Those
When
ones
I saw the
that's keep my book.
2014 Godzilla, I was with 2 or 3 other Japanese girls and a couple other white dudes. And the Japanese girls said that there's all kinds of versions of the word cute in Japanese.
Yeah.
And they said that Godzilla in that movie was dekakawa, which means huge and cute.
I'm okay
Huge
with
cute.
What's
that.
they say about me?
That should have been the tagline.
Right.
That's Stefan's tagline.
The new Godzilla, I don't think anyone would be saying that.
No. He's
Godzilla,
just creepy looking.
He's very creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially his few forms.
Exactly.
I'm so excited to see that. Like I was like when I read about there were going to be forms of him, I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to see this. I hope it comes here, and now it hasn't, and I hate it.
We're at you're in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, I think the closest one is like I was talking to a guy I work in a mall, and he was at a cookie stand, and he was like had a Godzilla shirt on. I was like, oh, are you gonna go see the new one? He's like, yeah, I'm driving like 2 hours to go see it. And I was
Wow.
I was like, Jesus, I can't do that.
Well,
Like I like Godzilla, but fuck.
If you go on Funimation, you know about the whole Funimation's website. They had the whole, you put in your zip code in the theater finder
Yeah.
on the Godzilla page, and you can find out the nearest theater to you
Yeah.
where it is.
I honestly I get to LA next week, Wednesday, and I was like, Andrew, please tell me there are more showings. And he's like, I think this is it. And I was like, damn it.
Well, I will
say
say
this sooner.
What's encouraging is that this movie has sold out a lot of showings,
Yeah.
and it's made a lot of money for the short amount of time that it's been in and the amount of theaters that it's been in.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't rule out the possibility of maybe another limited release at some point down the line, maybe before they put it to home video. Depends on how fast they want to put it to home video and make their money.
Yeah.
But
I was kind of hoping they might do where you can rent it for 24 hours or whatever, but you pay a theater price for it or whatever.
Digital, like a digital release for
And
Yeah.
I was really hoping that was going to occur since it was so limited.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they might still do it since it's done pretty well. Because I would, since you were coming on and Andrew saw it, I was like, oh, I'll totally rent that shit. I want to see it. So, and if I have to see it sitting in my own home, that's fine. But I love the theater experience, especially for films like Godzilla and I like Predator and stuff like that I grew up with watching. So I have to go see those movies in the theater. So
dude, people applauded in the beginning and end of my screening.
Dude,
people were into it, man.
I love that so much when people just there's no talking throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
And then there's just the stand up and the applause. That's what happened when I saw Force Awakens. I was like, yes, you people are good. All good in my book.
It's just I could just see super Godzilla fans like Jonathan. They go to the theater and then they're like, Japan, you did it again.
I mean,
you brought the goods once again.
Out of all their restarts, I wanted to say reboot because Godzilla has been rebooted a few times, but this one was an official reboot. He hadn't existed in our time. No one knew about him, and he just comes out of nowhere. It was on par with the original, but in a different way, which I liked a lot. And it's very different for a Godzilla movie, which makes me like it even more because I love how you gotta, to stay fresh, you at times have to kind of stray from the usual path while also keeping things familiar. And they did a perfect balance of that to me.
I also really like the trailers for it, at least the American ones, or I don't know what they released.
Well, Funimation, yeah, you're right. The Funimation did they knew their audience because they made a classic trailer with Akira Ifukube, who is known for the very recognizable Godzilla themes, the Godzilla music. His music was played off that trailer, and it was the quick cutting and the old special sound effects and all that, which is another thing that's really cool about the movie.
I just liked how they didn't really like they just showed you that like the first form. They didn't really give it like I really don't know what that movie's about watching those trailers, but I know I'm excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, and that's like
exactly.
I feel like American trailers today, or even like sometimes like extended Japanese trailers, or even like they give so much away now. And I was
Yep.
just kind of like surprised by like how it was like I watched like the first one that was released, and I was like, are they even gonna show Godzilla in this? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's just like scenery, and but I just really like the marketing that I've seen. Like, I haven't watched everything that came out. I think I saw like 3 of them, and I was
There
just
any
like, all
titties
right.
in the new one?
No, man.
Godzilla.
It doesn't go full on Ano, you know. It doesn't get really weird.
Damn it.
It's it gets weird enough in its own in a very conservative way for Godzilla.
Yeah.
I feel like Toho was like, you can make it however you want, but don't make it like Evangelion, like weird.
Yeah.
You know.
Was this a response to the American one in 2014 being a success?
Oh, I think completely. I think they saw they could because Japan, you know, Godzilla was gonna come back to them at some point. They were gonna do a new one, but I think originally they envisioned the sort of, and it was alluded to in articles about the passing of the torch. Like, you know, we have this deal with another American company. This one did, you know, the new American one did very well. You know, it was well received, regardless of how people thought of it. It did well, and you know they're going to be making sequels and all that. So, but I think when Toho saw the full response from that movie, they said, you know what, we got to bring it back. The audience is still there, and the draw is still there. So why not, you know, take it back to us and do a new one and see how it goes. And I think it was validation that like, and I've read articles on this recently that, you know, Godzilla, I mean, is king in Japan. Like Japan knows the property, they know how to handle it, and to me, they hit it out of the park.
Right.
Did you like the 2014 one?
I did, but I recognize there are, you know, no movie is without its flaws, obviously, but I think that one had, for as good as the action was with the guns with the, in the visual effects were,
Yeah.
which were stellar, but I think the human
Hold on
element
one
has
second.
to be there.
Hold on. Hey, Stefan, are you rustling around? There's like
Possibly.
some major rustling going on.
Oh, sorry. I was biting my dog.
Okay, sorry. It got to the point where like I couldn't even really hear Jonathan.
My apologies.
Okay,
I was cuddling her in my lap.
all right, Go ahead, Jonathan. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. But it was oh, well, I got distracted. What was I saying? I was talking
You're
about.
saying it was made for Japanese audience, Toho.
No, you were talking about the 2014 Godzilla,
Oh, yeah.
like the effects and the
Yeah. Well, for as good as the visual effects were and you know, the monster action and all that, I think that in anything is true to this day is that the story has to be good first, and that is paramount. And regardless of how much action you have in the movie, regardless of how cool it looks, you know, your characters, your human characters have to be engaging. They have to move the plot along. And if that's not going to happen, then you have to focus more on what is this movie about? It's about Godzilla. So, you know, and this is one thing, and this is something that people say that, yeah, Godzilla wasn't on screen for that long, and he was kind of like a supporting character in the movie. But if you look back to even the earliest Godzilla movies, his screen time at times is a little less than Godzilla 2014. So, but they do it in a way that the storytelling is good enough and the human characters are good enough and the story moves along at a pace that you really don't notice it. But in this one, it was magnified because the human characters weren't as good. And so now you're saying, okay, well, this movie is not good without a lot of Godzilla because these human characters aren't good. And that's where the disconnect is. And that's where the movie faulted. I think that's a Gareth Edwards not a rookie mistake, but I think that's just a product of first movie jitters. You know, he's not doing Godzilla 2 and he's not venturing on, but you know, I say Shin Godzilla to me is vastly superior
Yeah.
to Godzilla 2014 in that in regards to the story and how it's executed.
Yeah.
And at some points, I would say Shin Godzilla has less screen time than Godzilla 2014, or it just has about equal. But it's the way and the manner of how you tell your story that is the most important, and they did. Japanese, that is.
Did you like Gareth Edwards' Monsters?
You know, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was kind of boring, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not a lot happening.
I like Scoot McNairy a lot.
I do too.
feel like he carried that fucking film through the entirety of it.
Yeah.
But I thought the creatures, I was like, for a movie that says monsters, you got to give me some more, man. Like, I
Right.
understand you need a story and I get what's going on
Right.
here, but like, fuck. Like, it's only the one, and it's like,
Hmm.
it's plural here. Like, let's see some weird shit. Like, and
Say
I
it
understand
again.
it's a smaller film, so. What? Andrew? Hello?
Hello?
鳥なんぞ
Hello?
Okay, now you're just coming back on. I don't know what. Just a little break in connection there.
Who's
But,
got the
yeah,
police
like,
on their ass?
I'm excited for Rogue
I
One.
do.
I'm excited to see what his second feature will be. Like, super
Totally.
excited for Rogue One. So,
Rogue One looks great.
Yeah.
You know, from what I've seen. What I'm more interested in now is what is going to happen with Godzilla 2. Because all the focus, once Shin Godzilla dies down, you know, once Kong comes out, because now they've established this universe, right? Once Kong comes out, and who knows what will happen in that movie and how that'll be received, then the focus will shift. That will be their next tentpole movie. So
to them battling.
yeah, because then it's gonna go Kong Skull Island, which will start the Kong timeline, and then it'll be Godzilla 2, and then Godzilla versus Kong, or however, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which will be interesting. You know, we'll see. I want to see how they treat some of the classic Toho kaiju. Like, they've already said that they could use King Ghidorah, you know, the famous three-headed golden dragon,
Yeah.
or Rodan, Mothra. All three of those they have the rights to use.
Yeah.
So to see those
Mecha?
revisioned, not Mecha. I always thought that'd be interesting to like see
Yeah.
in an American point of view, from an American perspective.
Totally.
What about Godzuki, bro?
Absolutely not. Although I do have the Hanna-Barbera first volume cartoon. A friend got it for me on DVD a couple years ago.
The intro was pretty cool though in that one. I feel.
Oh
like.
no, yeah, it's you know, classic 70s, you know, bravado, like up from the depths. Dun, 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 you know?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
How about the Godzilla animated from the early 2000s?
I loved it. I thought
Me
it
too,
was,
yes.
I thought it was like, now that's what your movie should have been.
Yeah,
Something like it.
Agree.
You know? Like, I feel like
I loved it.
TriStar, they knew the mistake that they had made. They already scrapped their sequel, and then they decided, okay, you know what? Let's make this a sequel to the movie. And if you ask any fans, and even just people casual, like a friend of mine's a casual fan in general,
That's awesome.
they love the cartoon. I thought the cartoon was great. The monsters he fought, you know, and he
That's
has
so
the
good.
breath, and
Hmm.
Yeah.
That creative team was great too.
They were
did the
great. Men in Black.
Men in Black and Extreme
Yep.
Ghostbusters.
oh, of course,
Good
great
stuff.
team. Good stuff to follow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would be interested to see a new Godzilla cartoon.
Hell
Whether that
yeah.
be
Especially with what they've done, and or even like you were saying, like Knights of Sidonia, that style of cartoon or whatever, would be really cool to see. Like,
Netflix.
It's interesting what they're going to do, because they said it's technically, I say anime film, but it's going to be CG. So I don't,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's going to, it's not, I don't think it's going to have that nice Sidonia look to it, but
Okay.
it may have like a CG computer generated look, kind of like your Final Fantasy films, or something, not
Oh,
as
okay.
high quality, probably, but like something similar to that.
I see.
know. Yeah.
Well, fuck it.
Great news for Godzilla is, and for fans, is that the franchise is back. I mean, Godzilla has not been this publicized in the mainstream in a very long time. He hasn't been out there in the in
That's cool.
pop culture, like at the forefront in a while. It's been a long time.
Now I have a
So-
question. Are there conventions? Are there Godzilla conventions?
There is.
Kaiju or anything like that?
There is this one convention. It's held every year in Chicago. It's usually the first or second. I believe it's the second weekend in July. It's called
Cool.
It's called G Fest, literally G Fest. It used to it took place in Los Angeles once back in the '90s, but it didn't do so hot, so they moved it to Chicago, and now they do it there every year. It's been a thing that they have a lot of the some of the actors from the classic films or the costume makers or whoever, they come over. They have special guests. They come over, and it's really a well done event. I've never been. I've always wanted to go, just never had the opportunity. And I feel like maybe this next coming summer I'll finally go to G Fest. I have to go. I mean, it's a
Superhouse
thing for me.
correspondents at G Fest.
Really, I mean, I could. I just go in there and
I'll be
be
there
the
by
news
then.
guy.
What is
Yeah,
it?
you guys are in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, yeah. I mean, the tickets aren't that expensive. Like it's a 3-day weekend. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool events, and they also have this thing that they're doing. You know, they have Power Morphicon in August in Pasadena here every year. But
I missed that one.
this next year, they're calling it the Japanese Heroes Fest, and they're not just making it for Sentai and all that, but it's going to be all like tokusatsu. So you're going to have Godzilla suit actors, you're going to have Ultraman, you're going to have Power Rangers and Sentai.
That's someone in Pasadena?
Overall. Yep.
Cool.
That sounds
Overall.
amazing.
And that's
Can I ask you
That'll
a
be
question,
tight.
dude. How old are you? I just want to ask you something.
I am 32.
Oh, we're about the same age.
Yeah.
And you were into Power Rangers when you were a kid.
I was. Well, it was around when that Power Rangers came out, when I was watching it on TV. I believe I was in 4th grade.
Yeah, I was in 3rd. You're a year older than me.
Yeah.
No, wait. No, we're about the same age.
4th or
Yeah.
5th.
I forget my age sometimes.
So I love Power Rangers. We used to go out in recess and make our own, morphers and pretend like we were, yeah.
Yeah,
I had all,
me
I had all
too,
the
but
I had all the action figures. You had to go to the Toys R Us and pull someone's hair for the Dragon Zord, you know?
were you made fun of? Because even at the time, people said you were too old for it, even though you were 9 or 10.
You know, honestly, not really. Not in our town. Like it was a small town, but like a lot of the kids that I knew were all into it. I guess I didn't really pay attention to that stuff. Like if someone
Right.
was making fun of me, I kind of just tuned it out. I got made fun of for Godzilla a lot. I know that.
Okay.
Well, which like anybody would, and you just get teased by kids back in the day. You know. It's like,
Yeah, I remember being 9 or 10 and people saying I was too old for it, and I was like, man, this has
Not even.
martial arts and robots.
yeah.
I'm already into this shit, and
Yeah.
sucks like superheroes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
I felt a need to like keep it hidden, my interest in Power Rangers when I was a kid for some reason. And then like looking back on the timeline, I'm like, I'm not, I was definitely not too old for it. It was like right about the right amount of time. But I remember growing up around a lot of like hood kid types.
oh yeah.
Well, it was kind of hood in my neighborhood, but just like, yeah, like any of that shit, you have kids the same age and they're already like talking about how they're fucking up gas stations and shit. And I'm like, oh, Power Rangers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was just a lot of bad kids that would, and it's usually the ones that are making fun of you, are the fucking asshole kids. So it's funny that Andrew asked you that because we've talked about it on other shows, and now I'm starting to like look back and see this whole new perspective on like, like fuck them, I'm still a Power Rangers fan.
Just kind of like especially with the new movie coming out. Like I haven't really gone back and watched the show or anything, but I thought that trailer was fucking great.
It was cool.
And I posted this on my personal Facebook, but I just feel like if they do Avengers meets Pacific Rim, we're in for a whole great new franchise, and
Now-
maybe a little bit of 90s nostalgia, but not too much.
Well,
Go ahead.
if you're into, I mean, obviously we're all into Power Rangers. Have you seen the originals where it came from?
Actually,
Rangers
I have
and-
not, but there was one thing that really threw me for a loop when I was a kid, where like there was that one like bird villain. I forget his name. He's like blue. He was like a blue type monster guy, and that was actually that toy was used in a Pete and Pete show. That and Pete and Pete came on before Power Rangers was ever on.
Huh.
So when I was a kid, I didn't know about the whole Japanese thing about it, right? I just thought it was all new, and I was like, how did Pete and Pete go forward in time and get a Power Rangers villain and put it in their show?
Right.
It's exactly
Totally threw me for a loop.
what they did.
What were you
Andrew.
about to say for the Japanese side?
Oh no, I was just saying if you're really into still like the original Power Rangers, then I recently in the last year I bought, a Shout Factory's been releasing the original Sentai versions of those where they stem from. Zoo Ranger, which is the original Power Rangers, and then it goes on into the ones how they evolved over the years. And it's really interesting to watch because you're seeing all the differences, but all the similarities between what they took to use, like obviously all the action sequences and all like the Sentai stuff, the Tokusatsu stuff, they kept intact. But you see all the differences and all the similarities. It's really interesting to point them all out and see how kind of different they are, but how similar they are.
Yeah.
That will really throw you for a loop.
My brother said he's watched some of them, and he said that the green/white ranger is like a little kid in the Japanese one, and he's like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's like a Damian Wayne type or something. He's just a little shit.
And the Yellow Ranger is not a female; it's a male in the Japanese.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you look back on Power Rangers and you look in the show, at some moments during the scenes where they're fighting like the putties or they're in action mode, in their costumes, you'll notice the difference slightly. That
they could do with renaming those, by the way. They should just rename the putties. That's just a stupid name.
Yeah.
They had cool figures though, where you punch the middle and they explode off.
Crash Dummies did it. No, I'm just kidding.
That's true.
I actually really enjoyed it was a more recent one. It was the Samurai Ranger. I watched that one all in Japanese on YouTube. Before YouTube went the Apple route.
Yeah.
When you could still find bootleg shit on YouTube. That was great.
Yeah.
But that show was amazing, and it wasn't, I'm sure it was geared towards kids in a lot of ways, but just the way that they handled the storytelling as a primetime show. And a lot of those Sentai shows are they geared towards kids or a broader audience?
Well, I feel like they're more towards a broader audience. I've always felt like Japanese audiences, they always treated them more mature, even if they were kids shows, because they always had more of a sense of like urgency. Like there in the Japanese version of what the original Power Rangers took from it. It's so much more serious. Every character has their own like backstory, and they have their own singular episodes sometimes, and they're dire straits, like serious subject matters and topics that are going on, and it's like very interesting to see how serious and dark it can get at times compared to the always happy and light US version,
Yeah. Well, and then the Samurai one was like they were battling yokai, from like
yeah.
the realm,
cool.
You know what I mean? Cool. But like for any watching what I was watching, like the Westerner would perceive that as being like satanic and that vein of things, and the Japanese representation of those characters was kind of like on par with that. It was frightening elements to it. They were very like you said, like dire straits. They focused a lot of the time on very like dire circumstances that like the battle, like the between worlds, like it was almost like Mortal Kombat or something, like the Outworld or something. How they mix and these like young characters with more mature themes as they play through, and anybody who's seen Power Rangers in America from the 90s on, their perspective of it is that of those people that probably like you're too old for it or whatever, but there's so much more going on in those shows, and like anybody writer shows from like the 70s would know that as well.
It's funny when we talk about how kids, would tell us, or people would tell us, "Oh, you're too old for that stuff," and then here we are today, and it's more popular. I think it's more in the
Totally.
realm of popularity now than it ever was when we were watching it, and now it's like almost acceptable now, to be like a huge nerd to these subjects like Godzilla and all that. It's like no one really will
Yeah.
tell you, "Oh, that's dumb." Nowadays
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I don't think
Yeah,
you can have any like room to say that, especially like if you look at the example of Shin Godzilla for one. Like again, we've said a few times, like this has like a very important message, not a message, but kind of a commentary on Japanese society.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So it's not just a guy in a suit or a CG or whatever knocking down fake buildings. Like there's really some substance there. So.
Yeah.
Sure, you could say it is nerdy, but it's just like it's still like at least it's saying something.
Oh, that's
It's
why I love it so
you
much.
know
Like and even if you look back at the old, um, from the '60s into the '70s Godzilla movies, they evolve with the times. There's social issues like
right,
Godzilla versus Hedorah, which was 1971. That one had a lot to do with that. That one spoke to pollution in Japan because pollution was a huge thing at the time. And yeah, it was kind of on the nose the way they did it. The smog monster, he's death, destruction. But like, it was a huge thing in Japan. Like they were getting very industrial and the pollution was really high over there at that time. And that is not one of the most favorite Godzilla movies by I'd say the majority standard. But it's definitely another one that like is very unique and different and it kind of gets away from the norm and
right,
tries to like say something. And all Godzilla movies have these messages in them. You just have to kind of watch them and take them in and you'll see that message, or you read an article where you'll hear an historian or someone talking about the social implications of these movies and where, how they got inspired by doing one thing over the other. And it's really interesting when you look into the history of it.
right.
A
So like
lot going on in 62 years.
when you have people say like, "Oh, this is just for kids," it's like, sure, it can be, it is for kids, but also like these things that they're trying to say that could be for anybody.
Of course. Oh yeah. 100%.
I think the Japanese are quite good at this kind of like
children's entertainment here.
they're good at mixing
Yeah.
like what do you call it? Like something that's kind of like on the surface seems kind of dumb, or at least not too deep. But then you take like
Right.
a second look at it, and it's like, man, this is pretty deep actually.
Yeah.
Like they're really good at that. I think better than Americans in a lot of ways.
Totally.
I totally
Americans just inject innuendo.
Right, right, right.
I agree. That's why I feel like Godzilla is best handled with as much as I want to see the American franchise continue and grow and do good things. Because the more Godzilla out there, it's better for the fans. It's better for everyone.
Right.
Whatever shape Godzilla takes, whatever form it takes, wherever the franchise goes, as long as Godzilla's still out there and they're still being made, like I bet my uncle was telling me the other day, he's like, I didn't think Godzilla would be this socially relevant today. Back when I was a kid, like who would have thought something like? I mean, it's the longest, it still is the longest running film franchise out there. It's like, who would have thought? But it's because it has staying power. It's generational too. You have kids being brought up by their parents or the people who they look up to kind of they're passing the torch on and on and on. You see that happening probably with everything.
Right. Oh man. Good Godzilla talk.
That's the best.
Yeah, it's a good thing you didn't ask me about the music because I could go on about that too. I love everything about it. There's just so many aspects of it. You could go on literally forever.
Mhm.
I do have a question. You said you knew about Ultraman
Yeah.
a little
Love
bit.
Ultraman.
Like what Ultraman should I watch? I got to tell you, I've never ever
Yeah.
watched anything from Ultraman. I've been a Japanophile my whole life.
I'm always a traditional guy. I love the originals so much, and the original Ultraman is great. Ultra 7 is another really good one. That's essentially like the sequel series, even though it isn't really a sequel. It was the one that followed it.
Right.
Um, Ultra Seven. If you love classic, if you don't mind watching classic uh, TV like television shows, like sci-fi shows, they're kind of in the same. It was all the same special effects people from the Godzilla films. Like they all go hand in hand. That's who made these shows. Um,
Mm.
I would say if you're in for more modern fare, there's Ultraman Orb. If you have Crunchyroll, it's streaming on there. They have Ultraman and Mebius, I believe, is on there. The Ultraman X,
I
you can
gotta
stream
tell
on there.
Dude, I would pay for Crunchyroll Classic, like vintage anime and vintage Japanese shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch most of this new shit, man. It's mostly terrible. I
Well-
like I want to see all this, like, let's say like 80s and before. Let's just focus on that. I'll pay extra for it.
You know what? Then I would say you can
Yeah.
watch the original. I believe you can watch the original Ultraman on Hulu.
Oh shit. Okay.
Or I don't. It's not on Netflix. I don't think it's on Netflix. But I know Hulu definitely has, or it had, the original Ultraman. Ultra 7, you just have to look it up. Ultra 7 is my favorite. I feel like they did the show. They didn't have the budget that they had for Ultraman. They kind of skimmed their budget a little bit, so they had to tell more stories. So it has this more darker, like Twilight Zone type feel to it, and the characters' stories are good, and all the monster kaiju stuff is really entertaining too. It's very fun, but it's also a lot more serious and takes a darker turn. I think Ultra 7 probably is my recommendation for favorite Ultraman show.
Dude, Spider-Man is showing up in Attack on Titan comic books in Japan, like in
Oh,
at least in
crossover, yeah.
some crossovers happening, and like Marvel's trying to hit that Japanese market. It'd be
Mhm.
cool if, like, I don't know, like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, 4, some movie down the line, like Ultraman just in the background somewhere. That would
That would be really
if
cool.
there was some sort of cool crossover to kind of get that shit, not like a huge thing, but let's say there's like a cantina type scene and he's somewhere. I don't know.
Totally.
That would
Well-
be kind of cool.
Have you read Ready Player One?
Oh, it's so
I have
good.
not.
Ready Player One does that exactly, pretty
Yes.
much.
Yes.
It crosses over so many different pop culture
Oh, dude.
icons. Ultraman, spoiler alert, I'm just going to say Ultraman, Godzilla universes collide in a
Yeah.
sense.
Damn it.
Also,
Okay.
you have Star Wars and you have all these other references to things. Steven Spielberg is doing an adaptation, by the way, the movie
Yeah.
adaptation. Who knows how that's going to be?
For anyone in the Superhouse podcast who talks on it, there's no reason why you should read this book. It
Maddie,
is for us.
post-haste,
It was
post-hace,
written
Maddie.
It's
for
gonna be
us.
Superhouse
I've read
Book
it.
Club.
I've read it. Dude,
I
I'll read
agree.
it again.
Alright,
It's
I
so
agree.
fucking good.
Very engaging for a book. Like I said, I'm not a huge reader, and I blew through it in about a week.
Yeah, it's
It was
great.
it was very entertaining. And a friend of mine was like, "Trust me, you'll love this book. There's certain parts of it I know for a fact you'll love." And as soon as those parts hit, I was like jumping up while I was reading. I was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" I was like a little kid.
My favorite part of that book is the Rush part because I love the band Rush so much.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh,
Are you
yeah.
kidding me?
So
Oh
great.
man!
Rush
All
is
right.
great.
God damn it. All right.
I'm buying Ready Player One tomorrow, and I'm going to see Shin Godzilla tomorrow.
Do it.
You should, man.
That'll
Fuck.
make you weak. I guarantee.
Whoa,
Nice.
Stephen,
Right
you
on.
might need to calm down. I'm just saying.
I can't calm down. Calming down is not in my fucking DNA.
It's not an option,
Not an
baby.
option.
I'm too damn excited.
Jonathan, did
Yes.
you read Armada?
I didn't read Armada. I was hesitant because I don't normally pay attention to reviews because everything's always, if it's good to me then I like it. It's fine. I don't care what people say. But I just heard like that it was kind of just it wasn't as captivating, I guess, as Ready Player One. He kind of goes through the same like tropes and the same things as he did in Ready Player One. It's like that's just what I heard. But I have yet to experience that for myself though.
I read it. I got the signed autograph version. Went and saw him speak and stuff, and he's a great speaker. He can talk about fucking like any pop culture thing and like his favorite Buckaroo Banzai is like one of his favorite films. It's great. He's a great dude to talk to. It's wonderful. And I remember I got up there, I was like, what's your favorite non-classic Rush album? And he was like, dude, I can't even tell you. I love them all. Like, it was great. It was a conversation we had. But I did not, like, I like it, but I, like, for his next book, he's got to get out of this pop culture thing. Like, I love it. I love all his references because the inner geek in me is like, yes, I get all of these. I know all of them. But, yeah, like, I was just like, it's not as good as Ready Player One. Like, that's his, like, breakout. And that's the biggest thing.
Agreed.
Like, always with your follow-up anything, I feel like either album, film, book, it's like, you know, it can either be good or bad. And this isn't good or bad. It's just kind of like middle of the road. You know, it's like it's like The Last Starfighter, kind of.
Nice.
And, like, that's pretty cool about it. But it's like, like, you'll read that book and go, oh, yeah, you remember when you did it better in Ready Player One? So,
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, I was just wondering if you'd read it. Because, like, I'm a fan. I'll read anything he puts out at this point just because.
It was funny because I looked up after I read the book. I looked up his Amazon. I looked up on Amazon like other things he had done or his other works, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm Armada." But I immediately wanted to know what else he was doing.
Yeah, he actually wrote the script for that film Fanboys, where they go to see episode 1.
No shit.
Oh, no way!
Yeah,
I love
So,
fanboys.
Did not know that.
yeah. He was talking. He was telling a story about how many incarnations that script went through, and like. He was just like, I don't even know what. Like, he's like, I like the film, but that's not the film I wrote. He's
Right.
just like,
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
even know. Like, he's like, and then he kind of like, it kind of dissuaded him from being like a, you know, like a script writer. He just was like, I got a story to tell. It's Ready Player One, and I just like need to write it. And like a lot of friends and his like, I think his wife was just like, you got to do it. Just fucking write it. Like he's like, I'll never see this movie made. He's like. You can't get Godzilla and Ultraman in the same universe in America. That's like never gonna happen. All those rights and shit and blah blah blah.
Well, oh man, I really hope that they do because they'd be missing an opportunity if they didn't.
Well, the thing is, I think they have the best director for this film. If anyone can get anything he wants, it's Steven Spielberg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
That's true, and you
Spielberg's
know,
like, I need Ultraman. Get me Ultraman. People
Well,
will make that shit happen.
you know what's interesting too
Yes,
is
that's
that
true.
Warner Brothers is the distributor for this
Yes.
movie, and Warner Brothers is also the distributor for the legendary Godzilla series. So they have a relationship with Toho. They could get it done if they wanted to. And Subaraya would love, I'm sure, for their character, Subaraya, who is the creator of Ultraman. I'm sure they would love to have that on the mainstream. So I'm sidetracking real quick, but this connects the Godzilla universe and the Ultraman universe. The famous and original special effects director for all the early Godzilla movies. We're talking the original. He also did some other big special effects films in Japan at that time. He was highly regarded as the father of special effects in Japan. Like he's the guy who did all the early Godzilla movies. He created Ultraman and Subaraya Productions, which then was, created that franchise. So Godzilla, that's how they're connected is, Eiji Tsuburaya, who is this visual effects, or I should say the special effects master on the Godzilla franchise, created Ultraman. And that's how that connects.
I'm just excited to see like the first trailer or teaser trailer, whatever, for Ready Player One. Just to
Should
see
be
what
interesting, yeah.
It's gonna be. I mean, like Stefan and Andrew and like anyone else who consistently talks on this podcast, like you guys, you have to read this book. It's like everything we talk about every day on this podcast.
Yeah.
Every
All
single
right.
day that we fucking geek out about. This book is about. It's like it was written for us.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to it, Maddie. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, dude, it's so great. Like I kind of just like want to bring my copy and just be like, Andrew, here.
You should.
He's like, how can I get this back to you? Don't worry about it. And I just pat you on your head. It's like I need people to read this book, like, because people are like, Maddie, you'll love this, and I was like, I don't know, and they're like, a friend came up to me, he's like, Maddie, there's a section about Rush, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And then I ran to like our bookshelf and pulled it off and was like, all right, I'm in.
That's pretty much
So-
where you sold me was fucking Rush.
Well, dude, like I was like, okay, so like they're gonna talk about an album.
fish
Well,
islands.
I was like, oh, they're gonna talk about a Rush album, and that'll be fine. That'll be fun. And there'll be other stuff that happens.
It's like a whole
There's
section.
there's a whole
Oh.
fucking there's a part of this quest this kid has to go on and has to complete based on Rush. It
You
is
know, honestly,
fucking
that's
great.
like the most heartwarming thing I've ever heard in my life.
Dude,
It's like,
like,
that
I
makes me feel
remember-
so good.
So I was working at Half Price Books, and a lot of people who read it were like, "Do you think Rush will let him use like the song and like everything?" I
Oh
was
my
like,
god.
why wouldn't they? Like they're
Wait,
fucking
what
sci-fi
songs?
geeks as fuck. I'm not telling you. You got to read that motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, gotta read it.
Rush gets me
Yeah.
hard.
Dude.
God damn it! I'm pissed that I haven't.
I
read
was
it
going
yet.
through my records the other day, and I was like going through like my old, like I have it spaced out between like kind of newer stuff and then like my older stuff with like my Bowie and like my Rush and my Springsteen. And I was like, do I really need these Rush albums? I was going through and like reading liner notes, then I put some on. I was like, I can't get rid of this. It's too fucking good. But
Rush.
man, dude, I can't. That film is gonna like if it's done correctly, it's gonna
Yeah,
be fucking
it has to be.
mind-blowing.
Yeah, it has to be done the right way for sure.
Yeah.
Spielberg
think
hasn't
Spielberg's
been
great.
like relevant lately either. I feel like. I mean, he had that Bridge of Spies that came and went out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like Spielberg's not really a household name. Like I wonder
Yeah.
if the younger millennials even know who the fuck he is.
This
Like
is
I think he's
be the
gonna come
movie,
back
man.
in a huge way with this movie.
Dude, this is gonna be the movie that like for people who are like, you know, like I don't know, they're just like, who Spielberg? What Jaws? What? It's just gonna be like, you know, like
Yeah,
this
that'd
is
be
gonna
really
like,
great.
Hey, it's gonna be like you're gonna be like, oh yeah, Steven Spielberg, and they're gonna be like, oh, Ready Player One, and it's like, fuck you. But yes,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
why.
Not E.T. or like yeah.
Yeah,
Jurassic
nothing
Park,
I grew up
Close
with.
Encounters, Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say Poltergeist just cause he directed half of that sort of.
I mean, Saving Private Ryan was probably his last big hit, wasn't it?
Minority Report was pretty
Oh,
big-ish,
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Minority
yeah.
Report was good. Catch Me If You Can did pretty well.
Oh, that
okay.
was great.
Yeah.
That one's
Okay.
good.
I'm off. Yeah, there was a few.
Same
after
year.
But like,
That.
there's
Catch
other-
Me If You Can is
Yeah.
brilliant.
I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't
thought
see
it was
Bridge
great.
of Spies. I wanted to. Just
You know,
it
Bridge of
was good.
Spies, it was good. I liked it, you know? It wasn't like, wow, Steven Spielberg's back, but, you know, it was a solid movie.
I think it's like Ready Player One is the exact movie to bring Spielberg back into like science fiction again.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like get him back to like, you know, like Close Encounters, like Minority Report and all that kind of stuff. War of the Worlds. I don't know. Like I saw a recent like there was an article on something on Facebook that was talking about how good his War of the Worlds was. I never read it though, because I was just like, it's all right, but I don't know.
I liked War of the Worlds, but I liked it because of how they took the disaster approach to it. You know, they instead of like showing us a third perspective on how this would play out, it just focuses on one family, which to me kind of made it more terrifying.
Yeah.
Because you're like this is so much bigger than them that they can handle, and it's just like, what would you do like in that situation, you know?
Yeah. I think
This
my
is-
favorite part of that film is the whole Tim Robbins part. Like,
Yeah.
I love all that, like, just that thing. Like, anytime you read, like, a disaster movie or, like, post-apocalyptic, there's always that scene.
There's always
And it
that
does so
weird,
well. Yeah, there's always that weird dude that's like, can't you just chill the fuck out, guy? Like,
right?
Come on, we'll get through it. And he's like, no, I'm going to be fucking crazy. And it's like,
What movie? War of the Worlds?
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Oh man.
This was a great
That's a
chat.
good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like an episode unto itself right there.
I know, man. I'm thinking of splitting these actually.
Gojira.
Yeah.
I would say once we've all seen Shin Godzilla, maybe we should have like another grouping of the same people, and invite other folk, but like actually be able to talk about it. Because I would love to just like say the things I loved about it, but I haven't seen it yet. So
Legit
Yeah.
shit.
Jonathan, we got to
Yeah.
get Mark on because I think he would be good for the podcast too.
Of course, yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
He's a total like. It was interesting talking to Mark because he was like the biggest Iron Fist fan.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like an expert on it, but like that was like one of his top Marvel guys. So at least when next March comes around, at least I'd like to see his take on the Netflix series.
Right. He,
At least
from
get
what
his
I've,
ass on then.
yeah, oh, I think he could go on for hours about those shows like Daredevil and Luke
Mhm.
Cage and all those.
Cool.
I admittedly need to I need to finish Daredevil and I need to continue. I liked it a lot. I just didn't. It's too much going on, man. There's too many things, too many shows.
Oh,
Got
I
too
get
many
it.
shows.
Woo!
It's been good, man. Actually, we were actually going to get to talking about Luke Cage later on in this podcast as well.
Ha!
Hell
It's
yeah.
um,
I got some
but-
choice things to say about my man Luke Cage.
man, it's been good though. You definitely need to watch all of those.
Yeah, I know.
They are good. The only one I haven't finished is Jessica Jones.
Oh, I
'Cause-
finished them all at this point.
Because I'm a sexist.
They've all been good, and I
They've all
think
been
Jessica Jones and Luke Cage started off a little slow.
Yeah.
But, like when it picks up, it's like it's so good. It's just like you gotta watch the next one.
Right.
Cool. I'm going to start that shit up right now. Just kidding.
Time to make another drink, right?
Yeah. Oh, in due time. I'm still working on
in
this.
due time.
The last drink I poured a lot of whiskey in there.
Did we want to move on to like going into Rogue One or Luke Cage or Maddie's music or what's next, guys?
Well, let's go with current events. I'm down to talk about Rogue One. We were just talking about Gareth Edwards.
That's true, yeah. So this is the final trailer, right?
Yes, I think for the release.
For Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
Other than like TV spots, that I guess those don't count these days.
Fuck a
but,
TV spot, man.
Fuck
That's
a
for
TV
dummies.
spot.
I usually don't watch them actually because I'm already
I
like
hate
too
that.
into it. But I mean, I thought it was fucking great. Loving the tone. I'm calling it right now. Everybody's gonna die. I think most of the main cast is gonna die in this one. Why?
well,
Because
duh.
it doesn't have to connect with anything else.
Right. It's the United 93 of Star Wars movies.
Yes, and it adds much more gravitas to the film in general. To a Star Wars film. So like we're in for like the darkest, but maybe one of the best Star Wars films. Maybe my expectations are too high, but it looks
Shit.
fucking great.
Shit. Can I go next?
Go ahead.
I just by the trailers, and I know it's easy to say this after the fact, but I think it looks better than Force Awakens. You know,
Yeah.
I know, like Force Awakens has to play certain, like hit certain bases. You know what I mean, in order to reinvent the mythos. And without Force Awakens, you know, most people probably would think that Rogue One is just like a B movie, kind of like cash grab or whatever. However, there was something I said when the first trailer came out about like the tropical setting of a certain planet or whatever, this and that, and us speculating on whether or not that was just like, you know, the set and maybe things will look different. I'm really happy to see that tropical environment is prevalent. I don't think we've ever really seen anything like that in a Star Wars movie yet. So it's really cool to see just like kind of a change of scenery for what we're used to with Star Wars films. Overall, it looks so good. It looks darker than any Star Wars film than I think we've seen. Things that have been hinted at maybe in the expanded universe and novels and stuff like that. But, you know, it shares parallels with Rebels going on right now. And Rebels is definitely geared towards kids, but it's very militaristic. And Rogue, yeah, so good. And Rogue One is kind of, you know, it's on that ground level. And this trailer was just like, introducing Mads Mikkelsen as the father, and I forgot the other dude's name, but
Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn,
I love
and
that
like
so much.
for me, what really made it with this trailer is the details, like the costuming. You know how they have like the rain slicker kind of like Empire costuming, and then it differs other scenes, you know, and just like the moments are so good. I really hope. You know, I loved the 2014 Godzilla, and Monsters I wasn't a huge fan of. But, you know, I mean, this is Star Wars. I'm sure he had some coaching going on, but Gareth Edwards, I think, there's this moment in time now that he's able to capture with this darker Star Wars film. And it's just like, it's feeding, where Force Awakens fed into like the child and the nostalgia, the member berries.
Yeah.
Rogue One is starting to expand on, it's growing up with us. It's growing up with, it's growing up with those fans that were fans since the 70s. Like they really haven't had their comeuppance just yet because the prequels were such a mishmash of emotions and whatever you want to call it. But this movie just seems so refreshing within the Star Wars universe. I don't think we've ever had anything like this outside of books and graphic novels and stuff. It looks amazing.
It's like
Oh,
now
sure.
they feel like they can take more of a risk because
Yeah.
they've secured
Yeah.
with Force Awakens the next 10 fucking years of Star
Yeah.
Wars. So it's like, yeah, let's throw this one out there in between two big ones. Let's see what happens.
Let me just say my favorite moments of this trailer, right at the beginning after she wakes up from that flashback, just seeing the stormtrooper walk across or walk in front of the cell that she's in, just for that split second, then it cuts away, was so good. And this movie's about the Empire. This shit is about the oppression of the Empire. Something we haven't seen.
Man, when they're talking about like we got to rise up, it's the resistance.
Yeah.
I'm like, fucking hell yeah, let's do this shit, man. I'm fucking ready, dude.
Yeah, it's we've outside of seeing planets being destroyed, we haven't seen the death grip that the Empire has had on like the day-to-day people who have to deal with it or whatever. My other two favorite moments are, there's a moment where she's talking about like all rebellions are built on hope or whatever like that. Donnie Yen's character, when he stamps his stick or whatever on the ground in the ship they're in, and he makes that really like gracious, like grateful expression on his face, like preach on, sister, you know what I mean? Like that moment was really good. And then there was one more that I really wanted to point out that I'm forgetting. It was all good, man. I'm so excited. I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Maddie.
Well, fuck. I think you guys know what I'm gonna say. Like the thing with like when Stefan said it looks better than Force Awakens. Like the thing is, I really fucking love Sith and Jedi shit so much. Like that, I love it so much. But I'm ready for this story to happen. Like I've been waiting to see this. Like I've read, like Stefan was saying, I've read it. I've seen it in graphic novels. I've seen other like I'm ready to see this in the to see this on the big screen. Like this be the definitive. Like this is how the plans were stolen. These are the people who did it. See, finally getting to see like Vader in something. Like I've also like read that like his scenes are pretty brutal in it. So I'm pretty excited to see like how much Vader will actually get in this, just to see a different take on Vader. Because I mean, like the only real Vader we have outside, like, I mean, I've watched a lot of like season 2 of Rebels, so I get to see a pretty cool Vader. But like going to the movies and stuff, this is gonna be. I'm pretty excited just to see like how brutal Vader will be at this point. Because like when we meet him in A New Hope, he's pretty much torn through like that trilogy of films. Like he's still pretty badass, but like his kids are coming back around, and he so
I mean, this is
like Ben Mendelsohn.
Sorry.
Go ahead, you can.
I just want to say this story is like the apex of the empirical rule. You know what I mean?
Like
And
this
it's yeah.
Well, it's like Vader at his worst, like like when he becomes Vader, like this is still him being like full on like I've read comics of like this Vader, and I'm like, fuck, man, no one can survive, everyone fucking dies, So like it'll be really interesting to see that. I think the cast looks great. Ben Mendelsohn, I'm really excited for, just because he's like he's such a shithead in everything I've seen him in. Like he can play that character so fucking well. Like I'm just excited to see. I also hope with Rebels going on, and I know Rebels has introduced Thrawn, which is like one of my favorite villains in the Star Wars like expanded universe. And if you haven't read like Timothy Zahn's like run, this trilogy of books with Thrawn in them, it's great. For those who don't know, Thrawn is like the last ditch effort by the Empire, because the Emperor was not a fan of alien races. If you notice throughout all of the films, it's all humans. Thrawn is the only alien he actually ever put into his like command, and he is the last-ditch effort to save the Empire. So throughout this series of books, he's just like a super smart motherfucker. Like he's like one step ahead of Luke. He's a step ahead of everyone, and it's just like he's one of those villains that's infuriating to watch because he's so fucking smart. You're like, God, I just can't wait till you get your end. I cannot wait, you know. And I'm hoping that I get a little bit of that in like Ben Mendelsohn's character in this one. Like we get like a good villain who's just like, I cannot wait for you to die. You know.
It seems like visually they're playing on a lot of the Thrawn imagery. There is, the paintings and whatnot.
Yeah, and I'm super excited for this. I mean, honestly, I think everyone here knows I'm a super fan of fucking Star Wars, and any film any film they're gonna release from this point on is like, fuck yeah, I'll be there. Like even if I don't even like the casting or think it's correct, I'm like, Maddie, you're gonna go see the Star Wars film? Did you say Star Wars film? Fuck yeah!
Oh hell yeah, dude! Like, I mean, and imagine like a few years ago, you wouldn't have been saying that at all. Like you'd have been like, I'm gonna see it, but I'm, Anyway, go ahead.
No, like that's the thing. Like if it's Star Wars, I'm gonna see it. Someone came to me, like I was working at a half-price bookstore, like, Maddie, you know what the new Star Wars thing is? You realize you're not gonna get to see all the Star Wars films, and I was like, what do you mean? It's like he's like, there will be Star Wars films once you're gone from this earth, and I went,
that makes
fuck
me so
you,
sad.
I'm living forever. Fuck you. I got so upset that I realized at that point that I will be dead at some point, and I will not be able to see Star Wars films. I got really upset.
It's like death did not upset you until you heard
until
that.
Like there's gonna be little shits running around, probably my children, fucking seeing these Star Wars films I can't see.
It's It's a hard thing to grasp,
dude. Like it never hit me till that moment.
I think my entire any religious proclivity I may have, and my entire spiritual body is tied to fucking Star Wars.
I'll tell you this right now. If in the Bible it said, when you go to heaven, you can watch all the Star Wars films, I'd be Christian as fuck. I'd be the best Christian. Stop drinking, stop cursing, stop sleeping. I'd be married by now. Fuck.
Girl, we gotta get married.
Yeah, basically. We're not having sex until we're married, young lady.
Dude, how about that? How about that Forrest Whitaker in Rogue One? That's like, I got a standing ovation for just that performance alone.
He looks great.
Yeah,
Don't give up the dream. Don't give up hope.
Like that shit was so good, man.
It's gonna be such a fucking ride, like emotional ride. This film, man.
There wasn't even the call sign, even the title, fucking.
Yes, I love that.
It wasn't cheesy. Like none of it was cheesy. Like the pacing, it's really the timing of everything. The pacing of the edit of the trailer, let alone the performance of the actors. You know what I mean? Like it plays. It's like such a nice, beautiful orchestration of stuff like we're expecting, stuff we're speculating on, and stuff we have no possible idea.
Yeah, dude,
so good.
Fuck,
Jonathan, what do you think, man?
Don't give up hope.
Well, I will admit that Star Wars isn't really in my wheelhouse. However, I do like the movies. I am entertained by them, and I do like Star Wars. But I'm very excited for Rogue One. I thought that it looked very grounded. It's the first look at like the military aspect to me of how in that universe, rather than like, showing the Jedi aspect in that singular thing. I really can't wait to see what's going to happen. The trailers have been really well done.
Yeah.
That's the number one step in getting people hyped. So in that sense, they've done a really good job with the trailers. Let's say, God forbid, the movie is not as good, then people should be given those trailer Academy Awards. But I think it's going to be really good.
Oh no! I was just like, don't even say it. Don't even put that out there.
You gotta have faith. That's what they're telling you. That's what Forrest Whitaker's telling you. You gotta have faith.
You got to believe.
You got to believe. Don't give up the dream.
Yeah,
like fuck, dude.
Yeah, he's so good. He's gonna be in Black Panther too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's the fucking man, dude. Forrest Whitaker's my boy.
Ghost dog.
Yeah.
Ghost dog.
I'll say one thing they have going for them, and this is good for Gareth Edwards in this regard, is that the cast that he has to work with in this movie. I mean, geez,
Yeah.
you know, how can it
Excellent.
not be? How can it not be good? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way.
I also love that the cast is.
Oh my God.
It's not well known. Like.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
to, like,
Felicity
the normal
Jones.
movie, the normal moviegoer, it's not known. Like I love Ben Mendelsohn, Bloodline.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I haven't
great.
seen Animal Kingdom, but like I can't even think of movies right now. I've been drinking since we started talking, so. But, you know, like, his role in Bloodline season 1, he's like, when I watched season 2 of Bloodline, I was like, you know what this show's missing? Ben Mendelsohn. Like, why the fuck did they kill that motherfucker off? Spoiler alert. But
Oh.
you got, like, at this point, you're not gonna fucking watch it.
I
Calm
will
down.
watch it. Well, not
No,
second
you
season.
won't.
But anyway.
You need to read Ready Player One. But, like, it's like him, and then it's like Donnie Yen. Like, yeah, of course, everyone talking on this podcast knows who the fuck Donnie Yen is, but no one else does.
Donnie
you know?
Yen's my other brother
Yeah,
from another
and
mother.
it's- I don't like. What is his name? Diego Luna.
Yeah, as a Latino American, I'm very pleased to see Diego Luna alongside Jimmy Smits participate in the Star Wars universe.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
Hell
wait.
fucking yeah.
The pilot dude in Force Awakens is like Guatemalan or something.
You talking about Oscar Isaac?
Lewin
Oscar
Davis?
Yeah, he's at least half Latino, dude.
Oscar
like him
Isaacs
too.
is like a mix
him
of
too.
like many things.
But Diego Luna, here's another thing is like the accent that he has in the film. That's something I think that's really cool. You know, the way that they let Gal Gadot keep her accent for Wonder Woman and blah, 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 blah. Diego Luna in a fucking Star Wars movie, like that's some hot. As long as I've been at the length of time that it took me to get my degree and to the point that I am now, wherever I am with filmmaking, Diego Luna as a Mexican actor has been there. Him and Gael Garcia Bernal. That's all that's missing. That motherfucker needs to be an R2 unit. But
They're gonna put him in something. Just wait.
it's so fucking
He'll be
cool.
in one of
And Forrest Whitaker, again, to reiterate, but back to that same point, to see Forrest Whitaker in a fucking Star Wars movie, like hell fucking yeah. It's it's like Leo finally winning an Oscar or something. You know, you're just like certain actors, you don't see it coming.
Samuel
but certain, Samuel L. Jackson, totally.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor, like certain actors are just made for this universe for whatever reason. And Forrest Whitaker is reminiscent of Lawrence Fishburne in Predators in kind of a visual way.
Dude.
Hold on, let me make this connection.
Okay.
In kind of a visual way, and kind of in an archetypal kind of way. You know what I mean? And so we've seen Lawrence Fishburne kind of play that role, but like Forrest Whitaker has this flavor that nobody else has, and for him to be like so much about the diversity of ethnicity in these Star Wars films, but the diversity of character that is starting to show, and in this one, in Rogue One, more than anything, I think like the diversity is really starting to show.
No Indian character yet.
Not just yet. You mean like Dot or Feather?
Dot. Well, both actually,
Well,
but I
we
think
need
they
both.
probably get
Come
to
on.
Dot first.
we need my boy next one to
Wait, say it
come up
again.
on
You
some
broke
Star
up a
Wars
little bit
fame.
there.
We need Dev Patel is the next one to get some Star Wars comeuppance.
Yeah.
That motherfucker would be great in a Star Wars movie.
I was gonna make the connection between Forrest Whitaker and Lawrence Fishburne, because like that was my biggest fear, that like
Right.
because in Predators, Lawrence Fishburne's character kind of slows the film down a lot. Like
Yeah.
I enjoy that character. I think it's very fun to watch him, like someone who survived this long, or at least the Predators have kept alive for this amount of time for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Which is like unknown, but you can speculate. And I'm just like, part of my fear was that like is Fishburne or is
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker gonna like slow the Star Wars story down, or is he gonna be like, is it just gonna be like a natural occurrence in it.
Yeah.
So
Well, the
I
one
have
thing
some reservation about that, but
the one thing I think we know for sure about Forrest Whitaker and this type of character, in pretty much any movie you could name, it's the teacher character. You know, it's like it's the Yoda, it's the Maz Kanata. That's kind of what it seems like he's fulfilling for this. You know, he's the one who has that last bit of information that these rebels need because he's been through the shit. The feat, like him walking, that James Chiang, I think is his name, the production designer, artist, him and some other guy, I forget, but just the worn-in feel that they bring to the, you know, not only this but Force Awakens and a lot of stuff that we've seen as the expanded universe of Star Wars has developed. You know, just seeing that person, that hardened character who's been through the shit, you know, it's fucking, to a lesser degree, Nick Nolte in Tropic Thunder, you know, it's like that same type of character. But anyway, I think just by those few lines alone, I like to consider my like a refined palette of performance. Other people might call that pretentious or whatever. But just in that little line, you know, like you know, don't give up hope, don't give up the dream, you know, like it just says, it speaks volumes of, to me anyway, the quality of film that we're hopefully going to get.
no, I mean, I think you know, Predators versus
I'm just so
like,
excited
versus like Rogue One. I think we're gonna get the better story, better acting, better script writing in Rogue One. But like the parallels between the two, I was just like, when I watched that trailer, I was like, fuck.
You know what? Even when they said that, like, they did the reshoots because the rumor was that there was too much talking in cockpits, I don't know, man. I could take talking in cockpits for a long time. Like a cockpit of an X-wing, like that didn't sound all that bad to me.
No,
like if they're talking about life in general and what it's like to be in the rebellion and fighting and blah blah blah.
That's like every Star Wars novel ever.
Yeah. Here's where they're lucky is they have the safety net, or the backbone, not safety net, but the backbone of the Force Awakens to work off of.
Yeah.
You know, that's a foundation. Despite what anybody might say, you know, it really is. And Rogue One it's obviously pushing in this darker tone. So in my mind, I guess it's like they can't do any worse than the Force Awakens, you know what I mean? And that's pretty good leg to stand on.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think Rogue One is kind of getting us ready for the next, like, the second part of this new trilogy.
Yeah, Star Wars 9/11.
Which is like, I don't like to read some of that shit about like the spoilers and like some of the stuff that happens, but man, I read a little bit about like the stuff that's gonna happen with like Luke and Rey, supposedly in Ireland on that island, and I was just like, fucking shit, if this happens, I'm gonna lose my shit in the theater. Like, I'll lose it. Like, bowel movements, it'll be just fucking over, man. Like, I don't even want to tell you guys.
If there's, like, Yoda-style training on the good side, and then you see the other dude, Kylo Ren's Sith training on his side, if there's parallel training montages, it'll be the best Star Wars film of all time.
Dude, I'll just say this. The Knights of Ren show up.
That'd be amazing, yeah.
Apparently that's like what people know, like, what happens in the new Star Wars film. And I think it's going to be a darker film.
Not only that, but Luke fucking issues at this point.
Yeah.
For the kid to just go off with a stranger and go fight against the Empire, you know what I mean? Like, for him all of a sudden to be hiding and wanting to be hidden and what he's hiding and stuff like that, like all of the good that he has, there's just as much dark. And I think, you know, they talk about Luke being the chosen one and everything. Perhaps it is Luke's the conduit by which the story is being told, our true understanding of the light and dark side, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Rey's so good, you know what I mean? It's so we're gonna get
you could have made a Star.
I can't take it.
He's the chosen one to pass off to the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You could have made
he's the essence of the like Luke is the essence of the turmoil
Yeah.
encompassed into one individual. Anyway,
The thing is, you could have made a new Star
Fuck.
Wars film where the original cast is dead. Like, you could have
Right.
summed all that up
Right.
in the scrolling text. Like, Luke Skywalker has passed, blah, blah, blah. These are his children, blah, blah, blah. This is Han Solo, blah, blah, blah. We would have had to read
Right.
a little while longer, but none of us would have gave a shit because
there's still so much of the story to be told from that perspective. That's why they've hung on. You know what I mean? And that berries, you know, it's like it's fucking nostalgic to have Luke and see all of them or whatever. But if it wasn't that strong of a hook, like we wouldn't need to know that part of the story. No, I'm agreeing with you.
No. I totally agree. It's just like it's like all the the Dark Empire comics and like any of the books I ever read.
Right.
Like, Luke is such an integral part to like what the Force is at this point.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to explore in these new trilogies. That it's like you have to have him. Like, would I have watched a film where it's just Rey and like fucking Finn and fucking Poe Dameron just like fucking doing shit? Yeah, fuck yeah, I would have watched that Star Wars. It'd been fucking amazing. But it's like, Luke, like to see Luke come back and like, dude, like, this is all I need to see in the new, like, after Rogue One.
That's the thing.
I just need to see the best fucking Jedi shit I've ever seen on film.
After
like,
2
I
decades.
need to see people force push. Oh, dude, I need so much.
Yeah.
But,
it's all that's. I mean, the thing about Rogue One, just even talking about like we need a call sign or whatever.
You're breaking up again a little bit, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Death Star.
Connection to be reestablished. Man, okay.
Ah, shit.
Okay, I'm hearing you again now. Okay.
Hey,
Maddie, can you hear
just
me?
keep moving forward.
yeah, I can hear you.
I was gonna ramble on about some shit, but how about that Jyn Erso?
Yeah, right?
That's my girl, man. I'm gonna move to Hollywood and find
Jane
her.
Erso, who's that?
Or she's the main character. I forgot her name.
Felicity Jones?
Jyn Erso. Yeah, Felicity Jones.
I only
in,
know her by her character name.
Mother. Holy mother.
She's in
That's awesome.
Stephen Hawking film, Theory of Everything.
Yeah. In that
Oh,
movie.
Felicity Jones, yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. And then, I mean, now she's in a Star Wars.
Hey, I think this is a good point to let Jonathan go. He's kind of been hanging out for a bit. Sorry about that, dude.
No, that's for some reason I had told some people, I was like, oh yeah, it should be like an hour or so, like. But it's great though. I've had such a good time talking with you guys.
You were vibing so well. I kind of felt wrong to like cut you off.
No,
no. Yeah,
totally
so I didn't know
fine.
like where to draw the lines, but yeah, thanks for coming on. This has been the first segment from our senior Godzilla correspondent, Jonathan Portman.
Dude, honestly, guys, thanks for having me so much.
Hell yeah.
I really get to vet about my love for this stuff to, other than my friends and people, but, if you're going to have the subject on this matter, then I appreciate that you had me on here. I would say one more thing I would like to add real quick before I go. I just wanted to throw out some recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah.
For either first-time Godzilla people or like either you guys who like aren't that familiar with the franchise as a whole. I'm gonna list some movies in order, and just have at it. The really good examples of like good Godzilla movies. All right, so Gojira, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Invasion of the Astro Monster, or otherwise known as Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, Destroy All Monsters, The Return of Godzilla, or Godzilla 1985, Godzilla vs. Biollante, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, Godzilla vs. Destroya, GMK, which is short for Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. That one's really good. And that's a more modern one. That one was done like back in 2001.
Oh shit, okay.
Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, Godzilla X Mothra X Mechagodzilla Tokyo SOS, or just Godzilla Tokyo SOS. And that's it. Well, that's at least the ones that I recommend.
Yeah.
for the
I've
viewer.
always been a fan of Mecha Godzilla.
Mechagodzilla is great.
Thanks, I like robots, man. I like the fucking robot Ninja Turtle too that they had back
Me
in
too.
the day.
Oh yeah,
Fucking
totally.
Metalhead.
Metalhead, dude. Yeah, it's fucking
Yep.
great. All right. Well, dude, we're gonna let you go because you have plans and shit. Don't want to keep you all night, so we will definitely have you on again. The vibe was
Awesome.
good.
Yeah, guys. Same here. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Check you later, bro.
Force be with you.
Hello, listeners. This is episode 34, part 1. It's been a vivid, horrifying, and beautiful experience. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bye, fuckers.